Oh, hamstring. Up. Sniper, take the other picture.
A stinking Browns fan? Are you kidding me?
I don't care about no damn Raz score, Casey.
Scam of the day, scam of the day, scam of the day.
Welcome back to the Zebra Zillionaires. It was a tough one yesterday.
Live from Chatterbox Sports Studios, it's Off the Bench with Tom Brenneman.
Well, good morning, and a pleasant good Monday morning. My, oh my, the sun is shining right now, but there's a lot of gloom and doom around the tri-state right now. More on that in a minute. Good morning and welcome as always to Off the Bench, presented by United Dairy Farmers. We come your way Monday through Friday, 10 to 12, and that's Eastern Time. You can join us. Just jump onto YouTube/Chatterbox Sports. If you'd rather join us in podcast form, search Off the Bench with Tom Brenneman, and you're dialed in. Gentlemen, good morning. Big night tonight, Chatterbox Sports Night at Great American Ballpark. Casey, Paul, you guys are ready to go. Apparently, Elliot and Jacob are not.
Yeah, we're probably going to go straight from the office here. I live pretty far away from here, so I'm not going home and then going back down. So I'm just going to go straight from here and rock it on down there. Chatterbox Sports Night. Should be a great time.
Casey, are you already drinking?
No, I'm not. I do plan on drinking early, though. I'll get down there about an hour early.
There we go.
And go to the beer garden.
There we go.
Get two $5 beers.
We get beers there, free.
Well, we get 2 beers free.
I know. I'm just. Well,
We get the
I guess we'll
buffet
hold on to
dinner, the
those.
ticket to the game. You can still jump on to chatterboxsports.com. Now, you might have to wait on the merch at this point because the game is tonight. But you still can get a ticket. $100, you can get 4 T-shirts, ticket to the game tonight, buffet dinner, a couple of beer tickets. Elliot, you and Jacob will be there early and often, I'm sure.
That's right.
Of course.
I plan on getting there sometime around 6:30, so we'll start the pregame early.
I don't know how many tickets we have left. We were down to around 20 tickets last night. You can also just buy the ticket to the game if you want to for $70. If you don't, we put it on discount.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you just want the ticket, we're still doing the 4 shirts deal. But if you just want the ticket, that's $70.
Sir Boy, I don't know how many times we have to go through this. I'm not, you might be, and I'll watch you do it. Shotgunning beers. We have a show to get ready for here tomorrow morning. It's not happening. All right, so help me here. Would you describe this weekend as a loss, LOSS weekend, or a lost, LOST weekend? Maybe both. It has to be a loss, LOSS weekend, because the Reds didn't win a single game in their biggest series to date of the year. A 3-game sweep at the hands of Craig Counsell's Milwaukee Brewers. Milwaukee hit better, Milwaukee pitched better, Milwaukee defended better, and Milwaukee played better fundamental baseball. First time all year long, the Reds fundamentally were not good. Cincinnati's high-octane offense did not score a single run until yesterday. The team scored a total of 3 runs in 3 games and had 10 hits the entire weekend. They struck out 37 times, walked 8, including 18 strikeouts Friday night. Ellie De La Cruz, where was he this weekend? Did he go back to AAA this weekend?
No, he was still here.
There was a positive, however, and a major positive, and that, of course, was the starting pitching. And that's not been the norm around here. The trio of Graham Ashcraft, Andrew Abbott, and Ben Lively, they were fantastic. It was, without a doubt, one of the best starting pitching series in quite some time for this franchise. But back to the original question. Was it a lost LOST weekend? Has your confidence level in this team suddenly fallen by the wayside? The answer should be, of course not. The Reds are only 2 games out of first place. This is not the end of the world. The only way it teeters on that edge is if they continue to lay an egg for the rest of this homestand. And they got good teams coming in. That continues tonight. First of 4 against the red-hot San Francisco Giants. They've won 5 straight. They're only a game and a half behind the Dodgers for first place in the NL West. They're also fully armed with one of the best pitching staffs in baseball. This is a better pitching team, statistically anyway, than Milwaukee. Brandon Williamson gets the ball tonight for the Reds against Logan Webb. He of the 3.14 ERA this year. First pitch 7:10. We mentioned our Chatterbox Sports Night tonight. The voice of the Giants, Dave Flemming. You see him on the Giants. More of you see him on ESPN, college basketball, college football. He will join us in about 15 minutes from now to preview the series. Is the offense getting a much-needed boost? Apparently so, in the form of Christian Encarnacion Strand. The team apparently will bring him up tonight. Will we see him in the lineup? Yay or nay, men? Will he be in the lineup tonight for the Redlegs?
Yes.
The Reds have neither confirmed nor denied that that's true yet.
Yes. If he is called up, if that's true, he'll be in the lineup.
I hope.
He'll be in the lineup.
CES, as he goes by, is hitting .331 with 20 home runs and 62 RBIs at AAA Louisville. Of course, he was part of that great deal for Tyler Malley that also brought over Spencer Steer. Bengals news. We've been talking about this for quite some time. The team has reworked the contract of longtime running back Joe Mixon. He's agreed to take a pay cut from his original deal signed 3 years ago. Now, apparently the deal is loaded with incentives where Mixon could get some of that money back. It also improves his chances of coming back next year. Mixon said through his agent his goal is to win a Super Bowl and to play his entire career in Cincinnati. The Tennessee Titans are signing wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. The 4-time Pro Bowler was cut loose by Arizona at the end of last year. In soccer, they're off for the next month. So it was good to see them on Saturday night, and they were good. FC Cincinnati, so impressive. Completing the season sweep of Nashville, 3-1 the final. I don't know if it's an all-star break. I don't know if it's a water break. I don't know if it's a timeout. I don't know what it is. But they're not going to play another MLS game, Casey McAllister, until the 3rd week of August.
That's right.
Thanks. And lastly, there are times when tennis can be as exciting as any sport out there. And that was the case if you watched any of it yesterday, the men's final at Wimbledon. A 5-set, nearly 5-hour marathon. The 20-year-old Spaniard who won the U.S. Open last year, Carlos Alcaraz, I think is how you pronounce his name, right?
Yep.
He beat Novak Djokovic for his first Wimbledon title. The Joker was attempting to tie Margaret Court for the most Grand Slams titles of all time. Djokovic sits at 23. Margaret Court had 24. And the two will probably square off again at the U.S. Open in September.
Well, a couple of news and nuggets on that one for people that are interested in tennis. Joker hadn't lost on center court since 2013. 10 years since he'd lost on center court. And the other thing is Joker is going to play in the Western and Southern. That'll be his first tournament post-COVID. I think at least on American soil, if not, I forget what the stat is, but it'll be his first tournament for sure on American soil post-COVID. So he'll be here in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever it is, 3 weeks, I think. But yeah, incredible final yesterday. Absolutely incredible.
Had nearly a 30-minute single game.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
It really was amazing to watch. Those guys, I mean, you guys aren't old enough. I'm old enough to remember. There was nothing like that era with McEnroe, Connors, Borg, Lendl. I mean, it was just insane how great these guys. And you saw those kind of matches regularly. And those 4 guys dominated the sport for a long time, a lot like Nadal, Federer, right? Djokovic. Those guys have dominated the sport for quite some time, and now here this 20-year-old, bang, he's on the scene.
Alcaraz is 20 years old.
Yep.
I mean, he's incredible.
Yep.
And he's 20.
Yep.
Other than those big 3 you just named and Andy Murray, he's the first person other than those 4 to win Wimbledon since he was born.
That's right.
So Nike put out the ad right afterwards, don't be a part of an era, make your own, and I think he's doing just that.
No doubt. No doubt. All right, we got Dave Flemming coming up here in a few minutes. I want to get your guys' thoughts and feelings about what happened at Great American Ballpark over the weekend. Casey, I'll start with you.
Tom, it was really rough.
There you go again. That OCD thing. And I know all about OCD, so go ahead.
It's really hard to hear in that. So, yeah, it was really rough, Tom. I don't know how else to put it. I thought that this game, we were talking about it before, and I said 3-0 is like the panic button, and I already hit that.
You mean 0-3?
Yeah, 0-3. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. 0-3.
That was a soccer mistake. Go ahead.
0-3, we're hitting the panic button. I started hitting the panic button after game 2, though. I mean, 28 innings or something around that without scoring. And not only was it without scoring, there was only like 3 or 4 hits out of those 28 innings. It was brutal, man. It was just terrible. I don't know what – you guys tried to warn me that this is just something that the Reds are prone to do, that they just come out really flat. But this is like – dead. This isn't flat. This is just lifeless.
There are 2 schools of thought on this weekend. There is the thought that everything's fine. It's a long season. It's a marathon. It's baseball. They lost 3 games to the Brewers. So it goes. You could have stretched out your division lead, but it happens. There's also the school of thought that you can't beat the Brewers. You now only beat the Brewers twice this year, and you only play them 3 more times. You could have put a lot of pressure on them at the deadline, and this was a massive, massive disaster over the last 3 days. I don't think I would get mad at you for thinking either one of those things. I personally think I'm in the first school. Like, this is a weekend that could have gone, and in any way it could have been better than what happened. I mean, it was about as bad as possible, besides the starting pitching.
Yep.
I mean, to lose 1-0 again on Friday and then 3-0 on Saturday, you can't ask for much more out of the starting pitching.
Nope.
And it hadn't been the starting pitching's issue pretty much to this point in the season. So now where you get to a point where, we talked about it on Friday. You went around the room, Tom, and asked what we thought was going to happen this weekend. I thought the Reds were going to get a game, but I wasn't expecting much. Like, I was not shocked by what happened. There are just teams in sports. There are just teams that some teams can't beat. I don't know why it's the Brewers, because it shouldn't be the Brewers. It's not like they're the Yankees or some of these other teams with a ton of cachet, and they show up with the name on the front of their jersey, and all of a sudden the Reds pee down their leg. But for some reason, that's happening with the Reds against the Brewers, and they just can't beat them. But they beat everybody else, and the Brewers, they have some trouble with everybody else. So for as well as the Brewers looked this weekend, for as well as they played and as good as they looked, I'm just not going to sit here and panic at all about what happened. It's frustrating that they could have potentially stretched their division lead to, 2, 3, 4 games, depending on how things went, 2 or 4. But I'm just not going to sit here and panic. I'm just not going to do it.
All right. Elliot, you panicking or no?
Yeah, I think it's okay to panic a little bit. I think, and I brought the season of 2021 because I thought these teams are kind of similar, where there was a lot of hype, a lot of energy around them, and the same exact thing happened where they came out of the All-Star break, played the Brewers, and then they got swept. It's not good, and ironically, what you're seeing right now is what everybody thought this season would be, which is very good starting pitching and just an offense that is non-existent.
Yep.
So I think you're kind of seeing that it's frustrating with how well the offense has been. But yeah, that's it. I'm very frustrated. I think there's a little time to worry here.
All right, Jacob, we're going to get to you in a second because Dave Flemming has been kind enough to join us. Go way back with Flem when he first came up in the big leagues, man. I remember like it was yesterday. He was surrounded by some of the best dudes you'll ever meet in your life. In Dwayne Kuiper, Mike Krukow, John Miller, many of whom are still around, all of whom are still around, and he's in Cincinnati for the game this weekend. David, how are you, sir? Nice to see your face.
I'm great, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I mean, we see you all the time now on ESPN, college football, college basketball, but your staple gig, if you will, Giants baseball. Giants have won 5 in a row. First time the two teams have seen each other this year. You know, I can look at some of the stats and see they're a good pitching team. They're less than the middle of the pack offensively, although they do hit some home runs. Fielding apparently has been a major issue. Where is the team right now coming into this series? Because it's a team that's also undergone a tremendous amount of change personnel-wise from where the season began, right?
Huge change, tons of young players. That the one similarity between the Giants and the Reds is the infusion of young players and how that's changed the season. Because otherwise, these teams are pretty different. I mean, the Giants are getting it done right now with pitching. The defense has actually gotten a lot better. The metrics, sometimes defensive metrics can be a little noisy or hard to understand. For the most part, the Giants defense has actually been really good, supportive of the pitching. The home runs have trailed off. The Giants, 2021, the Giants led baseball in home runs, set a franchise record. They won all those games. Last year, they hit a ton of home runs. They haven't been hitting for as much power. That, to me, is an issue for this team going forward. But the young guys, especially the young catcher, you're going to see Patrick Bailey in this series, has made a remarkable impact on the Giants. And they're kind of a mix and match team. It's been a few years of trying to mesh a rebuild of the farm system with also not tearing down the major league team. And I would say for the most part, they've done it pretty successfully. Giants are in a really tough division with the Dodgers. The Diamondbacks are good. The Padres are super, super talented. So it's intense competition out west these days, and the Giants are holding their own.
Well, the Giants have an incredible fan base. Look, it's easy to say, well, they got this great ballpark, and it's beautiful, and the setting and the whole 9 yards, but I've always thought they had one of the best fan bases in all of Major League Baseball. The fans are into it. They love the team. All fans will show up. The better you are, the more people you have in the house. But what's kind of the view of the team right now where they sit? You talk about their division. You talked about some of the things that have gone on offensively, defensively, pitching-wise. We'll get to that in a minute. But is the vibe, because I've been reading a lot of articles, some people think they're going to be a buyer at the deadline. Some people think they might be a seller at the deadline. What's sort of the vibe at this point? Because they're right there, game and a half out of first.
They're definitely going to be a buyer. I mean, we're 2 weeks away. It would be I'm trying to envision a scenario where they wouldn't be. They're going to be a buyer. Like, the Giants want to be aggressive. They believe in this team. That doesn't mean they're going to go trade the whole farm system for Shohei, although that's what Giants fans want. Giants fans, it's a very funny time because I think you're right. It's a passionate baseball city and fan base, and dying for another championship team. Even though it hasn't been that long, Giants fans are a little impatient. They're a little cranky. And a big part of that has been the Dodgers' success, the Dodgers just have been relentless over the last decade, year after year after year, and adding on star power. And as the Giants' stars have sort of aged out and retired, Buster Posey retires, Madison Bumgarner leaves, Brandon Crawford's still around, but not quite the level of player that he was. So all those frontline names that Giants fans became attached to for so many years have moved on. Giants fans are really anxious for another superstar or two. Padres have Machado and Soto and Tatis. So we see these guys come through all the time, and Giants fans have been envious of that. And they went hard after Aaron Judge, really thought they had a realistic chance of getting him. Then they came to the agreement with Carlos Correa. That fell through. It was a wild ride this offseason. And that's been what's fun about the last month for me, is with the young kids coming up, the fan base has been totally energized again by the prospects. And you guys have had it happen in this town. It's really happened in San Francisco, where these young kids have lit up Giants fans again. The ballpark's been full. It's been rocking. Really has made a big difference. And there's probably a good lesson in there for everybody trying to build a sustainable winning baseball team, and that is there's nothing like your own guys. You can try to go out and mercenary free agents and whatnot, but there's nothing like the attachment between fans and your own players coming up wearing your uniform, and that's what we've seen.
David, walk us through some of the pitchers coming up in this series. Let's start tonight with Logan Webb. A lot of people in the Eastern time zone aren't all that familiar with him. But, man, all it takes is one click of your computer to look at what this guy's done the last couple of years. And, again, this year, with a little more offensive luck perhaps, his record's a lot better than what it is. But his ERA, his innings pitched, all those kinds of things. This guy has to be considered the last 2 or 3 years one of the better starters in the league, doesn't he?
I think he's one of the very best, and his value comes because he's really good, but also he just takes the ball and goes every time out. It's so important for the Giants because they built a weird pitching staff. Like you and I probably aren't going to have enough time to totally break it down here, but the Giants are doing something with their pitching staff that almost hasn't been done before. They've got 7 or 8 starters at times on their staff at one time. They're using openers. They're sort of piggybacking starters on certain days. All that falls apart if you don't have a guy who just is super reliable like Logan is. He leads a game in innings pitched. He's gone at least 5 every single time, and he's gone 6 or 7 almost every time. He's old school. He's not trying to blow you away, although he can pitch for a strikeout. I think he had 11 in his last start before the All-Star break. But he's a sinker, slider, changeup pitcher who is okay with contact. The Giants have made it a real priority to play better defense behind him. That was a huge issue last year for him and the whole team, and they have been better behind him. And I just love watching this guy pitch. He's an ultra competitive, great teammate, great leader. It's not usual, at least in my experience, for a starting pitcher to kind of be the leader of a team. I think Logan Webb is the leader of this team.
Anthony DeSclafani, Reds fans are quite familiar with him. I know that when he first came to the Giants, he had a terrific year. And since then, he's had to battle through some injuries. Same thing again this year. He's coming off the injured list, if I'm not mistaken, tomorrow to start. How do they feel about where he is? Is it a case where they're really going to be watching his pitch count with the first start back tomorrow?
Probably a case where they're really going to be watching the effectiveness, I would think, because he's struggled the last few times out. I mean, Tony is he's like Logan. I mean, and you guys got to know him. He is a super intense, like really, really intense game day pitcher. Don't talk to me. Good guy off the field, but he is hard on himself, and it's been an issue he's been frustrated over the last month or so. He went down to Arizona over the All-Star break to pitch like a rehab start in the rookie league down there and got kicked out of the game by the umpire in a rookie league rehab. So gives you a little insight into Tony and his mindset, how cranky he is. We'll see. I mean, he was really good at the beginning of the year. He was awesome in 2021. It would be such a boost for the Giants if he could get back close to that. I think he can. I mean, for me, he's got this fastball slider combo, and his slider almost looks like a fastball. It's not a traditional slider. It's like an 88, 89 mile an hour little cut slider. If it's a good pitch, if it's getting swings and misses, he's good. If it's not, he's really vulnerable and probably will be able to tell right away.
All right, for fans maybe that are watching, that are coming down and have not seen the Giants much this year with all the new names and the new faces, you mentioned the catcher. Who else, another 2 or 3 guys that you look at and you say, okay, this is a guy you got to watch for every time he comes to the plate?
Yeah, first of all, watch the catcher, not just at the plate, but defensively, because he's been in the big league since mid-May. All of the defensive numbers, whoever you ask, say he's been the best defensive catcher for the full season. So he has caught up to everybody else. He's an incredible pitch framer, game caller. He throws from all different arm angles. It's going to be a really fun side story to this series, I think. The Reds who want to run. And Patrick Bailey, I mean, he had in the span of like 2 days a couple weeks ago, he threw out Mookie Betts trying to steal, and he threw out Fernando Tatis trying to steal. The Mets hadn't had a guy thrown out stealing in a month and a half, like 30-some straight. 9th inning of a 1-run game, Starling Marte tries to steal second, and he throws him out with an absolutely perfect throw. He is a special defensive player, Patrick Bailey. So he's been a good hitter too, and that's like almost a bonus, but he has brought this whole team together on defense with his ability behind the plate. They got a 21-year-old kid, Luis Matos, in center field, who's like the 2nd or 3rd youngest position player in the big leagues. different kind of player than De La Cruz. I mean, not like massive tools, huge sprint speed, just a great bat to ball contact sort of spray hitter. He's a fun young guy to watch. I think he's going to have a long, good major league career. And the other guys that really have stood out, I mean, they have young pitchers who are fun to watch, but the veterans, Michael Conforto swinging the bat great. He had a great series in Pittsburgh. Reds fans remember him from his time in New York. The guy can hit. He had a couple 30 home run seasons for the Mets. He's finally healthy and kind of into the rhythm of the season. Michael Conforto is a good player. J.D. Davis is having a great year at second. You miss Thairo Estrada. Thairo, arguably the best second baseman overall in the league this year, and he's got hit by a pitch, and he's going to be out for another month or so. The Giants really miss him.
All right, David, we thank you so much. Before I let you go, how's everybody doing? It's not been an easy year for some of the guys that you work with on a daily basis that I've known for over 30 years, and Dwayne Kuiper and Mike Krukow. They've had all kinds of health issues. They've, in Dwayne Kuiper's case, he lost his wife. How's everybody doing?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. They're doing actually really great. Kipe's doing great. Health is good. His spirits are good. He and Mike still have fun together. They're mostly doing just home games together. He's texting me all the time on the road because I think he does miss being on the road. He misses seeing you and all our friends around the league. John's doing great. He's been on vacation. I haven't seen John for like 2.5 weeks. He's coming back today. He's been on vacation, so he didn't want to miss this series. And Mike is Mike. I mean, Mike Krukow is one of the all-time greats to ever do this. He was a great pitcher. He's an incredible person, great spirit. He wants to just keep doing it forever as long as he can do it. So I'm glad you asked. I have been really, really blessed. I mean, it's hard for me to even say, but this is my 21st year with the Giants. And
it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
I mean, and you couldn't have asked for, it's hard to explain, but many who watch a show regularly have heard me say that, the guys that always looked forward to the most in terms of broadcasters for other team as a group collectively has always been, whether my days in Arizona or later with the Reds, were you guys with the Giants, because it was you had Krukow and Kuiper who are relentless. They never stop, as you know. I mean, it doesn't matter who you are, what you do. They come up with the Marty T-shirts when they come to town. They're buying our son a trophy because they heard some story about something that happened when he was like 4. They're giving you a bunch of heat because you're this young guy that walked into the whole mix. And then John, who, I mean, you just never know 1 minute to the next what the hell's going on. It really is an amazing group. Krukow and I were texting back and forth yesterday and last night, and I'm just really glad to hear that everybody's doing all right, because it's been a rough year for a couple of those guys.
Yeah, it has. It's been a rough few years, and we're still hanging in there, the four of us trying to plug away. Hunter Pence is with me to do the Giants TV this week, so Hunter and I are going to be on the TV side, and Hunter brings his own sort of level of enthusiasm. And you guys remember 2012? I mean, the legend of Hunter Pence for Giants fans, and he is still like incredibly popular with Giants fans, was right here in this ballpark. And he gave that speech in the dugout. The Giants were down 0-2, had to win 3 in a row here. And Hunter's speech was, the seeds were flying. He's spitting everywhere. And I don't want to go home and not see you guys tomorrow. All I want to do is have one more day with you guys, or whatever he said. And from there, it's been he and Giants fans have had a love affair since that day here. It really started in Cincinnati.
We remember it well, jumping up and down in that dugout before Game 3, again before Game 4, then before Game 5, and that was all she wrote. Giants right off.
And I know you got to go, but I just saw Dusty recently down in Houston, and I was chatting with Dusty about winning the World Series and whatnot. And it was I did not expect this from him. And he looked me right in the eye. He goes, "You guys hurt me in 2012, and this finally makes me feel better." I mean, he was saying it with a smile on his face, but that loss in that series, all the disappointments of Dusty's playoff career, and Dusty's been an incredible baseball guy, but I was really not expecting him. He brought that series up specifically, like, man, finally now I can forget about that.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because we had Bronson Arroyo on the show on Friday, just went into the Reds Hall of Fame over the weekend. And of course, he beat Madison Bumgarner in Game 2, and then he doesn't pitch again the rest of the series after Cueto got hurt in Game 1. But I mean, whether you talk to Arroyo, you mentioned Dusty, Scott Rowland, you talk to a lot of those guys. In Rowland's case, of course, he had already won World Series and done all that kind of thing. But each of them will tell you that those 3 days were 3 of the worst days of their careers that they just haven't been able to forget. I'm glad Dusty's been able to forget it. We had him on right after he won the World Series, and I think everybody in baseball was so excited for him. And I'm sure at the very top of the list were Giants fans.
Oh, we love Dusty, and it is true. Giants fans were really it's hard. The Astros don't have a lot of fans these days, outside of Houston, but Giants fans were pulling for him in the World Series just because of Dusty. I think if you asked a lot of our players, our core players from those 3 World Championship teams, you would get the answer more than once of that Reds team of all the teams the Giants played was the best team. That World Series opponent was the Tigers with Verlander and Scherzer and Cabrera and Prince Fielder. I mean, they were just loaded with talent too. But the way those Reds played the Giants that week, I think it was the toughest series that the Giants had to play in the whole run.
David, we thank you for your time. We're so excited and happy for all your success. All the best to you and your family, and hopefully we'll get a chance to catch up sometime down the road. Thank you very much for your time.
I hope so. Have me back again. It's great to see you and talk to you.
All right, David. Be well. 4-game series for Dave Flemming and the Giants. Hunter Pence, I didn't know he was doing games. I knew Kruko had told me he wasn't traveling anymore. He had this very rare – gosh, I just wish I could put into words what kind of guys Mike Kruko and Dwayne Kuiper are. They are just – gosh, phenomenal guys. And they've just had a really rough go of it, each of them. Kuiper lost his wife, suddenly. Then he gets diagnosed with cancer. Kruko gets diagnosed 4 or 5 years ago with this rare disease, which has kept him from being able to walk much anymore. So he doesn't travel with a team. He never complains about it, never has 1 second. But what a great group. And John Miller is one of – man. I might just call him and see if he wants to come on for 10 minutes just to do some impersonations. You heard him do Vin Scully and some of those guys?
I have not.
It's unbelievable. Pull that up, Casey. Pull it. Punch in John, that's Jon Miller, impersonating Vin Scully. And he does a lot of guys, but it's so good. It was great to have Dave. We got Paul Daugherty coming up in about a half an hour from now. Jacob, I wanted to get to you. About your thoughts for the weekend, because I think you've been to more games than anyone in this room so far this year. I think.
I would confidently say so. That was my 17th on Sunday. So, obviously I would have loved to win one. I think we all predicted that we were going to lose the series other than Casey. So I don't know that it was a super big surprise that we lost. The fact that we didn't score for the first 2 games in the first inning of the third game was certainly a surprise because the bats had been our strength the whole year. So I think the natural worry is when the pitching regresses again, because with the current bodies we're walking out there, I don't think we can expect a 2.3 ERA to last much longer. If that pitching regresses again and the bats can't get back to where they were before the All-Star break, we could be in for a really scary set of games here.
Yep.
I don't think that will be the case. I think we're going to bounce back. It's young guys. You expected the slumps to come. It does hurt that they came against the Brewers, but like Paul said, we have 3 games left against the Brewers and 60-something against the rest of the league. So you can still win this division. Like, it's nothing to freak out about, nothing to lose your mind over. Reinforcements are coming. I think we're going to be okay.
Look, the rest of this homestand all of a sudden now becomes even more under the microscope, right? I mean, when you go 0-3 to start it, and you know who you still have to play. Just heard a little scouting report on the Giants. Outstanding pitching team. Outstanding pitching team. The offense, and he's right about Conforto. I always really liked Conforto when he played for the Mets. And for whatever reason, he would go into these slumps and guy can hit, man. Dude can hit. And I'm looking forward to seeing their catcher and their center fielder. Sorry we're missing the second baseman. But then the Diamondbacks come in behind them. Now, the Diamondbacks are not playing well. We said keep an eye on some of these teams, and we gave you 4 or 5 teams. And what they're going to do as far as buying or selling at the deadline is going to have a lot to do with how they play the next 2 to 3 weeks. The Mets have not gotten off to a good start post-break, right? I didn't put Arizona in that mix. San Diego, another team, right? How are they going to do? What are they going to do? Some feel like they're going to go out and try to buy and get back in it. They are a pretty far down the trail behind people. So all of these series, and you heard Davey thinks the Giants are going to be a buyer. I only bring these kinds of things up because, it's been talked about. The Reds, apparently, all the stories are out there. Nick Krall's been on the horn shopping for more starting pitching, right? But how much competition will now there be to acquire starting pitching? If all of a sudden teams like the Giants, the Dodgers, let's say the Mets all of a sudden win 5, 6, 7 in a row and they get within 7, 8 games, right, of a wild card spot. They're not going to catch a Braves, but the wild card, you never know. You go over the American League. Some believe that Tampa Bay is in buy mode. After that great start, they've just been okay for quite a while now. They opened up such a huge lead. The Yankees are not going to throw it in, even though they are in last place, boys. Dead last. How about that?
Orioles only 1 game back now of the Rays.
There's another team. Orioles, your guys. Orioles. There's another team. Buy mode. So the more teams that are in buy mode creates more competition, right? Supply and demand, price goes up. All right, Ham and Eggers, take it away. Mr. President, take it away.
It's that time of the show, the Ham and Eggers. These guys are great. Trust me, I would know. I introduce all the best segments.
Well, we talked about Joe Mixon, so we'll bring up the Bengals report, and it's brought to you by Encore Technologies. Encore Technologies provides IT solutions for a data-centered world with a suite of services from mobile computing to desktop to data center, supporting both centralized and work-from-home computing models to improve efficiency and
productivity.
Visit Encore.tech. The path to innovation begins here. There's also Pawnee Water. We love Pawnee Water. Thank you to Sir Boy Wonder for buying a pack of Pawnee Water last week. Tweeted at us at the end of last week. Pawnee, I think the Pawnee guys are going to be at Chatterbox Reds night. I think. I think they're going to be there. Or at least one of them is going to be there. At least one of them. It's made right here in Hamilton, Ohio. It uses natural limestone filtration, unlike the artificial processing that many other brands use. The result is a healthy alkaline water that is also the best tasting water in the world. You can visit their website at pawneewater.com. That's PAHHNI water.com. PAHHNI water.com to see where you can buy it. Drink Pawnee Water, bet with Betfred, get your technology solutions from Encore, and get your coffee from UDF. Betfred. Any thoughts on Betfred Sportsbook, Elliot?
Yeah, it's the greatest sports book in the history of the world.
I like the polo that you're wearing today.
Thanks.
You dressed up for us.
I don't.
We're all wearing polos today. That never happens.
Why don't you, Jacob?
Why don't you take a guess, Paul?
I can't see.
It's an elder polo.
Oh, I didn't see that. I can't see that from
And
here.
I'm wearing purple today, obviously.
Purple Monday. My guy Jacob. He knows how to
look.
rap.
It's a bad look.
Just 2 elder guys sitting on this side of the room.
Jesus.
Casey, were you going to say something?
Well, I was actually going to get into, because I don't think we'll probably talk much about it today, but Joe Mixon, man. That was a big time move by him.
Your
What a
thoughts?
deal for the Bengals.
I love it. I love it for the Bengals. I love it for Joe's legacy. And it proved my point that he is considered a leader of that team, and he showed it over the weekend. I mean, big time move by him. He'll be here for the next 2 years, more than likely. heaven forbid that anything else happens outside of the game of football for him. But, man, I think he could possibly break the records that Corey has set. It's very possible now that he's got 2 years to do it. And I'm excited. I'm very, very happy for his legacy.
Legacy talk.
Happy for the Bengals.
We were all trying to find an avenue for Joe Mixon to make sense as the running back for this year, and now he's kind of locked in for the next 2. I think that's great news for the Bengals and gives them a little bit more flexibility when we talk about these contract extensions coming up.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, we all knew this was coming. And I'm just checking something here that made me think, Casey, what you just said. All-time rushing leaders, where we know that Corey Dillon is all-time number 1, right?
For the Bengals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joe Mixon, let's see. He is, he's a little less than 2,700 yards shy. So it's going to take him more than 2 years to do that.
Yeah, he has to stay healthy, and he would have to have 2 phenomenal seasons back to back. But I think the total yards for the Bengals, I think he'd be very close to number 1.
If he stays on his current pace for total yards after the second season, he would break that record.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
Big deal.
That's a big deal.
That's a big deal.
I almost argue that total yard stat is more indicative of a running back in today's game than just rushing yards. Because, I mean, back even just 10 years ago, running backs weren't catching the ball like they are today. Those yards make up such a big difference in their game.
No doubt about it. And look, Mixon, he'll quote-unquote take the ball. He had the concussion last year, missed a couple games. But he's been a heck of a player here. Very underrated player throughout the league, I think. And by and large, he was a model citizen until just this past offseason. And now all of a sudden, a couple of things come up. It certainly put him in a spot where he had zero leverage, if he wanted to stay here anyway, of reworking his deal. But is this now the first kind of, for lack of a better term, is this the first domino to fall in what will now be business decisions that the Bengals have to make? So they've gotten this thing done with him. I don't know why people keep putting Logan Wilson in this conversation. I hear a lot of people talk about that. I don't get it. Guy's a good player, but he ain't getting a long-term deal for me. He's not at all.
I would heavily disagree with
that. So be it.
I think he, outside of Jesse Bates, who we obviously lost, I think he's the most crucial piece of the defense, retention-wise. Keeping Jermaine Pratt's great, but Logan Wilson's what makes that defense go. He's one of the best pass-defending linebackers in the whole league.
He is.
4 interceptions last year.
He is.
There was a ghost holding call in the Super Bowl. He makes a great play on Cooper Kupp to win the game. I think Logan Wilson is right there, number 3 behind Joe Burrow and T. Higgins on most important long-term extensions.
Well, I think you're spot on there as far as, in that order. There's no doubt. I'd agree 100%. But when I start looking at them being another year out potentially on a Chase deal, right, and being a year, look, Logan Wilson's a nice player. I think the way this game is right now, the sport of football, I'm not paying a linebacker a gazillion dollars to play. That's just me. And some might look at me and say you're crazy. We're not talking about Luke Kuechly here. We're not talking about Chris Spielman here. We're not talking about some linebacker that comes off the edge and picks up 8, 10, 12, 14 sacks. He is a 3-down player. There's no question about that, and those guys are rare in this day and age. But anyway, the point I was making is that, Burrow is the one everybody's focused on, clearly. When all of a sudden is that Burrow thing not getting a contract, I'm not going to say it's going to put worry in your mind because they don't have to do it now. They can do it in a year from now.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
No big deal. It's not the end of the world if they don't get it done. But I think a lot of people would be very disappointed if the Bengals did not have Burrow locked up before the season starts this year. Is that fair, Elliot?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I was the first one to say it. Well, not the first one, but I was one of the first ones. I'd like to think that Joe Burrow, you need to pay him immediately before the value just goes up on these contracts. So I think as soon as we get that done, the better. If they do not sign Joe Burrow until maybe the end of the season or whenever that will be, I would start to worry. As close to crunch time as we get, I start to worry.
Gentlemen?
I mean, I think we're gonna get a deal done with Burrow. The more and more we wait, I'm not concerned if we don't get it done this offseason. Honestly, I'm not. Bengals will make sure that they sign him to whatever long-term deal that he wants, right? Like he's got, in my opinion, all the leverage in the world.
No doubt.
He can wait as long as he wants. He can wait for all the other quarterbacks to sign a deal and take top dollar when all the quarterbacks are already signed.
Do the Bengals have 1 ounce of leverage against Joe Burrow?
No.
No, not one.
Heck no.
The answer to that is no.
My worry on the Burrow contract doesn't start until week 1 of next season. If we don't get it done before next, because we have this year, we have next year, we have the year after as well. Yeah. So if we don't get it done before the offseason, before his 5th-year extension, that's when I get worried. I think everything now, getting it signed before this year, would just be icing on the cake. It would be very nice. It gives you a much better chance of getting T. Higgins done, Logan Wilson done, stuff like that. I do have worries about T. Higgins if we don't get Burrow done this offseason, but I'm not worried about Burrow until next.
Yeah. Agreed. I mean, the sooner we sign him, the more likely it is that we can keep Higgins and Logan Wilson, which I do hope that we can. The fact that we got Pratt for such a cheap deal really helps with that. You know, it's not like you're paying an amazing amount of money in a year at the linebacker position now. Because at first we were worried that, you know, we're going to lose Pratt because we're going to sign Wilson because they're both going to want top dollar. Now that that's not the case, maybe we can keep both. And I certainly hope that we can. But like you said, Tom, Burrow's deals first, then T, then Wilson. And we'll worry about it in that order until further notice.
Well, the one thing getting Burrow done clearly allows you to do is to now have a full packet of information on what you're going to be able to do with everybody else. And I think a lot of people feel like Burrow's camp, and would be wise to do so, Burrow's camp is kind of waiting around for Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Because can you imagine? I mean, Herbert's uber talented guy. But compared to what Burrow has done for his team, is not in the same galaxy. Herbert's never won a playoff game. He just got to the playoffs last year. Would they lead that game 30-3 or something at halftime?
Correct.
And he can't even get them 2 or 3 first downs that would have won the game and they lose to the Jags?
Yes.
I mean, I know that's not all on him, but I mean, it's a big part of it on him. But can you imagine if Burrow signs a deal and all of a sudden Herbert gets more money than him? So I think the Burrow camp is waiting around. I think they want to see what Herbert gets. You know what the other big guys are already making. There are no other big guys out there yet that are going to sign a new deal. Mahomes has signed his deal. Hurts has signed his deal. Josh Allen has signed his deal. So Herbert's the only big guy left along with Burrow. So if you get him signed, then you know exactly what it is you can or can't do with everybody else. Because, you know, look, when you look at this Bengals team and you start looking at Hilton and Awuzie, okay, you've got cornerbacks. Now, I know you drafted some. You brought in some young secondary players. But you've got to replace those guys. And I would make the argument after quarterback, that cornerback might be the next most important position in the NFL these days. Maybe an edge rusher ahead of that. But you're not going to beat anybody if you don't have good cornerbacks. You don't have to have the one big star because the Bengals have not had that big star. But they're going to have to replace Hilton and Awuzie. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Tyler Boyd. What are they going to do with DJ Reader? What are they going to do with T. Higgins? They've got T. Higgins where they could tag him this year and again next year. So this isn't super urgent stuff, but it would certainly give you a playbook for what you can and can't do moving forward. All right. Steve Ross says Hilton signed through 2024. I understand that, but so too is Joe Mixon. They're going to redo all these deals. All of them, right? Yep. You're going to go to every guy you got that's got any age to him because that's what's going on around the NFL. Every guy that's got any age to him, you're going to say, hey, look, we need you to renegotiate this deal just like they did with Joe Mixon. All right, let's get back really quickly to the Reds because we're going to talk about that with Paul Daugherty. I asked you guys the question, how would the Reds fare against the Brew Crew? I think all of us said they'd lose 2 out of 3 except for
me.
You said they'd win 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the Gigantes?
Probably they'll win 3 out of 4. That's just how it goes with this team. That's just how it goes with this team.
It is true. They usually meet a losing streak before they meet a winning streak.
I mean, that's your stat, Elliot.
That is my stat.
That's your stat, TM.
It seems as whenever the Reds get hot, they do meet it with an equally cold streak. I do think the Reds split this series. I don't think they win it. I think we get out of here with a split.
Yeah, I agree with Elliot. I think we lose to Webb tonight, sadly. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers in the league. I think we lose to Cobb on Thursday and then win the middle 2. So that's 2-2.
We got a whisper party going on over there.
I don't like it.
Doesn't look good over there.
I don't like what's
good
going on
over there at all. I mean, you guys are whispering down underneath the table.
Well, Brian B made a comment in the chat that I was trying to figure out. Did you debut that intro last Monday?
I was just getting ready to bring up.
No. When did we debut that?
Yeah,
was it last Monday?
Well, it was during the All-Star break.
Oh no.
Well, we'll see.
So the comment made some of you wondering, what are you talking about? Ever since, Casey, you put together the new opening of the show, the Reds have scored 3 runs in 3 games and lost all 3.
It's all right. Jinxes don't exist. It's not on you, Casey. You worked hard on that. It's a good intro.
Elliot and Jacob joined this show, and all of a sudden the Reds were the best team in baseball. Coincidence? I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I am a
That's the better
believer.
Positive. That's the spin zone, Casey. Don't worry about it.
I'm a big believer in jinxes, though.
It's all right. They don't
Jinxes
exist.
are real. Jinxes
Jinxes
are real.
the most real thing in sports.
No, they just don't exist.
They do, too.
They don't.
They do. Tom, what are your thoughts? Do jinxes exist?
They do.
Yeah, baby.
Thank you, Tom.
There's no doubt about it. But see, Casey, if I were you, and Casey, this is a little teaching Casey moment here, okay?
Okay.
When someone brings that up like Brian, and then Paul touched on it, and then I laid it out there, your first comeback should have been, hey, I was thinking about getting the Reds pitching turned around when I made that thing, because that's what they needed the most when I put this together. Terrible starting pitching. And that's what you were thinking when you put it together.
And look,
and
what
then
they've
we'd
done
all
since.
be like, hey, you're on it, Case.
Maybe that's what I was thinking, Tom.
Well, why in the hell am I bringing it up instead of you?
I don't know.
Casey, you seem a little quiet today, man. Everything good?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
I was just
everything's
checking
good.
in. You seem a little quiet.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't feel like I've been that quiet.
Okay. All right. You're fired up about Joe Mixon. Fired up about Joe Mixon.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what gets me bummed is just I really thought the Reds would do something that
It's all right.
that would show that they're different, right? Like I'm waiting for that moment to where we're like, yeah, this team is 100% different than past Reds, right? That's the moment I'm waiting for. Because I remember that moment with the Bengals and just being like, yeah, this team's gonna. Now that was a lot later into the season.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be right now because everyone told me they're gonna lose 2 out of the 3 games. They're gonna lose. They're gonna maybe even get swept. It's not gonna be a big deal. because they're going to win 3 out of the 4 against the Giants. But in my mind, and I hate doing this because I'm new to baseball, right? And people have been saying that the bats come and go. That's what I keep seeing. The bats come and go. But, man, when you lose your best asset to your team, it shakes your faith a little bit. It does. When you lose your offense like it has been, when your bats have not been good.
Yeah. Ben Lively on another loss to the Brewers. It fired us up for next time. We're not going to let it happen again, for sure. We'll check in next Wednesday, Ben.
I love athletes and coaches giving just the most easy, fake responses to anything like that. What does that mean? What does that mean?
We're not going to let it.
You just lost 5 of 6 to the Brewers to lose the division lead, and we're talking about next time.
Yeah,
come on, guys.
He's fired up.
It's a week away
next time, but he couldn't pitch because he was cramping.
I will say the Brewers' schedule coming up is brutal. So they go Phillies, Braves, us, Braves again. So there is some hope that the Reds take back this division within the next week and a half or so.
We all know what the Braves are, but the Phillies might be playing some of the best baseball in the
Yep.
whole league right now.
Yeah,
That's not an easy stretch.
And I think Paul said it. One of you guys over there said it earlier. The Brewers have struggled against teams that are not the Reds. So I think we're okay. We're okay. Let's win a couple games against the Giants here. Get us back on track. By the way, Devin Williams, I wanted to mention this. Tom, Devin Williams against the Reds.
That dude is good, man.
He's unbelievable.
He's good.
Devin Williams against the Reds, he's played the Reds 28 times. He has given up 5 earned runs and has struck out the Reds 54 times. That's a whip of 0.7 and an ERA of 1.6 against Cincinnati. He just shuts the Reds down every single time they play. Every single time.
The dude is really good. And his stuff, when you watch it on TV, is just insane. I can't imagine what it's like to stand in the box. I mean, his stuff. He's not the hardest thrower in the world. But I tell you, the guy, and fellas, you'll remember, I said this on the show 3 weeks ago. With all of the overuse of the Reds bullpen, when is it finally going to catch up? And I suggested to you guys 2 weeks ago to keep an eye on Alexis Diaz. Okay? And just to reiterate now, okay, in 11 games in April, 1 game, he allowed a run. In the month of May, he pitches in 10 games. 1 game, he allowed a run. In the month of June, this dude pitches 14 games. 14 of them. And he allowed runs in 4 of them. Here we are in July. Now, he wasn't charged with the tie-breaking run yesterday, but he gave up the hit, which allowed the tie-breaking run. Okay, so it wasn't charged to him, but they brought him in the game, and it goes to show you how important David Bell was looking at this, saying, I got to bring him in right now in the 8th inning. And I'm going to ask him for a 4-out save. Or in this case, they were still tied. Maybe get a win. Gives up a base hit. Brewers go up 4-3. End of story. So far in July, and I'm going to include the All-Star game on this, he's given up runs in 3 of his 6 appearances. And that doesn't count the game yesterday. So all of a sudden, are we starting to see some cracks with Alexis Diaz? Are you concerned, Elliot?
Well, yesterday, I would say a lot of that was on TJ Friedl.
Yeah,
respectfully.
True.
I think TJ Friedl having the missed cutoff was one of the worst plays fundamentally you can see a major leaguer make, and that was a large part of it. I don't think Diaz is wearing down yet, but to your point, Tom, it's going to happen if this continues. If you're continuing to hope for 4-out saves, stuff like that, I do think it'll eventually come. But right now, I still think the Reds are okay. I think the Reds are all right. Diaz, again, I will say he has looked a little shaky the past several outings. He has been giving up base runners. So I don't know. I don't know if it's him wearing down. I don't know what it is, but I do think the wearing down will happen if this keeps up.
Tom, I wanted to ask you, I mean, I know I agree with a lot of people in the chat saying that they don't like using Diaz in non-save situations. What is your opinion on that?
I have no problem with it whatsoever. I think that in this case, I agree with David Bell. Sunday's game felt like a game you needed to win.
Yep.
Is it the end of the world if you don't? No, it's not. But I've gotten on him before where you get into this whole thing where he's been off a couple of days and you just want to get him a little work, like in a blowout game on a Saturday. I think it happened a couple weeks ago. And you bring him in, and inevitably, whenever you see closers come in a non-save situation, they tend to struggle. And he throws 27, 28, 29 pitches. And then all of a sudden, the next day, you need him to come in and close it out, and he's unavailable because he threw too many pitches the day before. I think there are games, and David Bell's forgotten more about this stuff than I have, but there are games when you look at as a manager that just from your team standpoint, and there have been managers in the past, Bruce Bochy for a number of years with Trevor Hoffman. He would not bring him in. He got to a point where he wasn't going to bring him in anymore unless it was a save situation after having done so over the course of a 2 or 3 year run. So I think that David felt like they needed to win a game. Diaz comes in, gets a final out of the inning. They're going to come to bat in the bottom of the 8th. He's going to pitch the top of the 9th. They're going to bat again in the bottom of the 9th and find a way to win the game. I don't have a problem with you.
No, I don't. I think people use pitching Diaz in the tied game in the 8th inning against the Brewers the same way as pitching Diaz in a 10-run blowout to just get him work, and it's not the same thing. Using him in a high-leverage situation where you need to win the game, he's your best reliever. That's when you use your best reliever. So I don't have any problem with it. But like you said, I do have a problem with the getting him work and blowouts, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's a tough decision for managers when it comes to this particular issue. And generally with younger guys, you're more apt to do it. Diaz is a younger guy than you would the established guy that's been around forever, like a Trevor Hoffman or somebody else, Craig Kimbrell in this day and age, somebody like that. But the Reds felt like they needed this game. And Kansas City Royals says, John India says, it was the bench coach, not Bell. Trust me, it was Bell.
Yep.
Trust me.
One of the bigger stories from the series, too, Tom, the umpiring. I think the umpiring right now is at a point in the MLB where it's the worst. It's truly the worst it's ever been. And I don't know if that's because that we can see the box. I don't know if that's ruining it, but it seems like every single time the Reds are playing right now, the zone just doesn't make sense. I don't know what a strike is. I don't know what a ball is.
I mean, I hate the idea of automatic balls and strikes more than anyone because, that catcher framing, chasing pitches, that's such a big part of the game, and balls and strikes being automated takes away so much of the human element that makes baseball what it is. It's getting to a point where it might be so bad that we don't have a choice. I mean, these pitches are getting so fast, the rotation and the movement is getting so much.
Yep.
You wonder if it's not even just our umpires good enough at their job. It's can the human eye really call this game at a level where we need it to be anymore? I don't know. We might be getting close to that point.
Well, my understanding was it was bad for both teams.
Correct.
It was bad.
I heard it said yesterday that in the very first inning that some of the calls on the Brewers hitters were just insane.
That's
they
what
absolutely,
I mean,
they absolutely
both
were.
ways.
But I still think it dampens the spirit. It dampens what you're seeing on the field. Opposed to if we had an automated system where you know whether or not this is a ball or a strike. And I think it takes away the competitive nature of the game when a pitch 4 inches out of the zone is getting called for a strike.
Now, I think a near perfect middle ground that they're testing out in the minor leagues is that challenge.
Yep.
And they've gotten it to a point where that review takes a matter of seconds, less than 5 seconds, and most of the time, and the guy's walking down to first or walking back to the dugout. I love that because that still gives you the missed call, the framing, stuff like that. So I think that's a great middle ground.
Yeah, they do allow that in some levels of the minor leagues where you think a guy made the wrong call on a balls and strikes pitch. You can look at it. Boom, there it is. They make the decision. Game goes on. Is that next in Major League Baseball? Would you put a limit on how many times you can do that? Or do you make it one of those where if you challenge it, kind of like they do in football, well, baseball too, where if you challenge it, you get to keep it if you win. You lose it if you don't. Right?
I like that. It rewards the players for making a correct, rewards them for having a good eye. I like that.
Swaggy Play says he's ready for robo players.
That would be pretty electric. I've been still wanting aluminum bats in the MLB, Tom.
Oh boy.
Could you imagine some?
You'd have people killed.
That's not funny, but it's,
at some point we have to do a home run derby with aluminum bats in the major leagues. Like that.
Love that.
That has to happen at some point. And it might not be regulated by Major League Baseball. Like it might be something that Red Bull does for fun, or
in the off season,
some random YouTuber gets a bunch of guys that he knows. Like maybe John Boy gets a bunch of dudes together and they go to a stadium and do it.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, you see they're thinking about this senior home run derby, and Ken Griffey Jr. says he's all in.
No, I didn't see that.
That was a big story in the Athletic today.
I watched that.
You get some of the old guys out there one more time.
All
of them 30 pounds overweight and standing there with their boiler hanging out, swinging like softball players.
All right, so Tom, for that, who are how they have the little kids running around in the outfield? Who fields those balls? Who should we get to field those?
For the old timers,
yeah,
we get senior citizens out there.
That'd be a good one.
In San Francisco, at their ballpark, forever, they're unique. I don't know if they're still doing it or not, but they called them bald dudes and bald dudettes. Right? Mm-hmm. And they were all senior citizens. And I'm telling you, it was awesome. They'd be down there and some 65-year-old guy. And look, they're not going to try to catch some line drive into foul. They get the hell out of the way. But, I mean, some of the greatest stuff that you could replay during an otherwise very boring game where those guys chasing after a ball down the right field line, grandma out there. It was great. They would be the guys, to answer your question, for the home run derby. Right?
Yes. Yeah. I think another group of people would be some drunk college kids. What did you?
That would not end well.
That should be who does the normal one.
Yeah, I think that. Well, Tom, is it any less safe than having children? These children are fielding missiles out there.
You can root
well,
for the
trying to
22-year-olds
field
to
them.
get hurt.
My kids were out there for the one in Cincinnati.
Really?
Yeah, you're right.
I'm just saying it's more dangerous to have kids. At least the drunk college kids, they know what they signed up for.
You don't feel bad when a 23-year-old takes a ball off the face.
No.
You feel bad when it's a little kid.
One kid took one off the dome.
I know.
Yeah, a kid did take one off the dome.
All right. Let's get to Paul Daugherty. Is he in the house?
He is. He's ready.
He's bordering on senior citizen. He's not quite there yet, although he is kind of semi-retired. Doc, we were talking, I don't know if you saw the story, but Ken Griffey Jr. said that he would be interested in being a part of, during the All-Star game, activities, of having 4 guys, old-timers, come back and participate in a home run derby. And we were saying, instead of little kids running around in the outfield, would you like to run around in the outfield to get the balls? Would you be in for that?
Nah, not on your life, Tom. A man's got to know his limitations, right?
That's an old Clint Eastwood line from Dirty Harry.
That it is. Very good. That's right.
Yes, that's exactly right. So how's everything out at the golf course? You've been hard at work. A couple of times you had to work when we wanted to have you on the show. How's the golf season and your gig going so far midway through the summer?
I got a raise this year, man. I got a 10% raise. I'm making $11 an hour now.
Hey, 10% raise. You never argue with that.
Never. And I'm learning all kinds of things about cart barn management. You can't get these kind of lessons just anywhere, brother. This is an awakening for me. It's a second career, I think I could really be good at this if I keep working at it, keep my nose to the grindstone.
Well, and I know you will, because that's who you are and that's what you're all about. Let me ask you about the Reds. I asked the question in the monologue, was this a loss, LOSS weekend, or a lost, LOST weekend? Meaning, is this the beginning of the end, right, as people like to do? What are your thoughts? We know it was a loss weekend. They didn't win a game. But what about lost weekend?
Nah, I wrote this for the morning line today. This is going to test your sophistication as a baseball fan. If you think that this is the beginning of the end and you knew this was going to happen all along and, now they can't compete and the whole 12-game winning streak and all the fun they had was a mirage, if that's how you feel, you need to find your sophistication as a fan. It was a 3-game series when they didn't hit, slumps are inevitable. I don't care who you are, and they're in one collective. You look at some of the numbers for these guys. Steer being one, India, Ellie De La Cruz, even Matt McClain until yesterday. I mean, it's ugly. 4 for 30, 2 for 29. De La Cruz has 1 walk since June 13th, which means he's not being as selective as he could, given that I think a lot of these guys are, if not pitching around him, at least not trying to give him anything great to hit, and he still only has 1 walk. But, I mean, these are slumps. Guys slump. It's going to happen. I don't think Milwaukee's all that great. They happen to hit the Reds at the right time, and I've said this forever, especially about the NFL. It's not necessarily, or not always who you're playing, it's when you play them. The Reds, since I forget, I think since like June 7th, right? They played the Royals, the Cardinals, the Nationals, and the Rockies, which happened to be 4 of the 5 worst teams winning percentage-wise in baseball, right? They all 4 of those teams came into those series with the Reds playing poorly. That's a great combination if you're the Reds, and they won 12 out of those 13 games. Now they're playing teams that are decent, and certainly as good as they are, and we'll see. I think the important thing for them is if they're physically capable, just to keep grinding. I mean, they think that they've grinded so far. Take a look at the next couple of months. And that's what's important. Now, whether physically they're able to do it, I don't know. Jonathan India looks tired to me. He started 92 of their first 94 games, and he's played in every single one of them. I don't know if he's slumping. He's a little bit gassed. They've got lots of important players who've never been through anything like this. And really, when you think about it, Joey Votto's the only guy in the whole team.
Does that mean Doc's getting a phone call?
I don't know.
He's probably getting a phone call. I
That
bet
or maybe his phone died. I don't know.
Or his phone died.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if we can pick him back up here in a second. But look, he's spot on, and he's a guy. Wouldn't maybe the first to say it, but he used to write about it all the time, calling it the big 1-6. Doc, pick up where we lost you there for a second about some of these players in India looking like they're tired.
Yeah, then we don't have any track record for most of this team. Joey Votto's the only guy who's been through a pennant race on this roster. We don't know how they're going to react, and they've been grinding so far to their credit. Can they keep it up? Can they mentally and physically keep? Can they mentally and physically keep playing the way that they've been so far? That's the challenge. Slumps are going to happen. It's a fact of baseball life. Always has been, always will be. Can they keep mentally at it?
Well, part of that grinding is not only the fact, I mean, you just pointed it out where, Votto's really the only one that's been through something like this as far as a pennant race. But
right,
he's also the only one, because Friedel hasn't. Steer clearly never has. Encarnacion Strand now coming up. We'll get to him in a minute. De La Cruz, McClain. India, it's been 2 years for him, meaning playing a 162-game schedule, as you call it, the big 162. I mean, down in the minor leagues, you're used to playing 120-something, 130-something. That's a huge difference. And I wonder if, we brought this up recently, Doc, about if you're David Bell, do you manage your team differently when you're in a pennant race than you do if you're 10 or 15 games out of first and you're out of any kind of playoff contention. He might be forced to start sitting some of these guys from time to time.
I agree. And not only the everyday guys, but the relief pitchers. I mean, my goodness, every time I have the game on, Ian Jabot is in it. I mean, the guys there more than the beer vendors, right? And I think they have 4 relievers at least, each of whom has been in more than 40 games.
Yep.
Already. I don't know that you can keep that pace up. I mean, Diaz already is, and I don't know if it's fatigue or what, but Alexis Diaz lately has not been the guy that they've been counting on all year. And part of it may be fatigue. I don't know. It's not just the times they're in the games, Tom. It's the times they warm up. People don't think about that. But these guys might not even get into games, but they're out there warming up. They're still throwing. So I don't know. I mean, they use how many relievers they used yesterday? 4, 5?
Yeah, I mean, you got a starter, and look, I share with these guys off the air, and I'm not going to sit here and beat up, somebody because the heat got to them. But, I remember I was in the booth with Chris Spielman, former great Ohio State linebacker, NFL linebacker. If you were to pick one thing that used to send him completely into a different stratosphere, is when you would see players leaving games for cramps. And his old adage was arms out, needles in. If you know it's a hot day, well, whether you're coming in between innings or whether it's before the game, you have all of that in front of you to have all of these electrolytes and all those kinds of things go. So I'm not going to make a big deal out of it, but there are guys that I respect very much, Spielman being at the very top of the list, where he says there are a lot of things that can happen to a guy. Cramping ain't one of them.
Well, yeah, and I agree with you, but I also would say I think it is a big deal. I mean, you had a guy pitching well in an important game, and the only thing you really have to do to not cramp up is to drink water. Seriously. I mean, don't go pounding coffee in the morning. Don't go out carousing the night before. I'm not saying Ben Lively did that. I have no idea what he did last night. But take care of yourself and understand that it's a hot day and you're out there on the mound. Mix in some water. I don't think that's very hard. And pitching is not exactly like playing middle linebacker in the heat. I mean, it's pitching. I just think you got to be smart with that. I mean, we're making big assumptions, and maybe Ben Lively drank a gallon of water before the top of the first inning. I have no idea. But cramping up, you're right, is not something that should happen to a pro athlete in a situation like that, a baseball game.
I want to shift gears to the Joe Mixon thing here for a second. Many believe this will be the first kind of quote-unquote domino to fall, if you will, to start this whole sort of series of decisions that the Bengals have to make. Look, based on the off-the-field stuff, Mixon had zero leverage on this thing. But, if we're going to beat up guys for always chasing the dollar, and the easiest thing in the world would be, well, where else is he going to go, right? I think we've heard that line somewhere before. But Mixon, he did come out and say, that he wants to play his entire career in Cincinnati. He wants to win a Super Bowl with this team. And I think if you're a Bengals fan, you ought to feel good about that, because I think the guy's still a good player.
Yeah, I will say, though, his options are limited.
Yeah.
Every running back's options these days are limited. I mean, Minnesota let go Dalvin Cook. He's a free agent. He's a top 5 or 6 running back. I mean, he's really good. The kid in New York is going to hold out probably. Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, same way. Nobody's out there beating the bushes for running backs. And Mixon is going to be in his 7th year. That's ancient for a guy that has taken the number of hits that Joe Mixon has taken. He's gotten better as a receiver. I'll give him that. He was averaging 3.9 yards per carry last year. That's not very great. and he's not a great blocker. So I'm going to disagree with you, Tom. I think that his options were limited, and he and his agent probably saw that writing pretty clearly on that wall and said, let's go with what we know, what we're comfortable with, and oh, by the way, a team that's pretty damn good and could get me a ring.
All right, fair enough. We move now, though, and it seems this conversation is going on and on and on and on. They're in no hurry where they're up against some sort of deadline to get it done. They can wait until next year. In fact, I think they can wait till the year after that. But how important, just from a psyche standpoint, I'm going to ask you to go a little Freudian here. How important do you think it is that the Bengals get this Burrow contract done before this year?
I think it's pretty important only because he doesn't want to talk about it. I wouldn't want to talk about it either. He doesn't want to go into a training camp and maybe into a season being asked, well, what about your contract? Yeah, get it done. It's not as if the parameters aren't already there. They've been set pretty clearly by a couple of other clubs as to what the going rate for a guy like Joe Burrow is. Everybody knows the Bengals are going to sign him. I can't imagine a circumstance in which they wouldn't. So just get it done. You know, I again, don't leave that out there for him to have to deal with. And the window for this club is not getting wider. You know, every year that he gets older and has another year in the league, and T. Higgins the same way, and whoever else you want to talk about, they're not going to be able to keep this crew around forever. So make it right now, and the time is right, and the opportunity is there for great things, and you don't want your quarterback having to answer the same damn question over and over again. So yeah, get it done. I think it's pretty important.
Fair enough. Doc, as always, we thank you for your time and your perspective. Back to the grindstone later today, or you got the day off today? Course shut down on Monday?
I'm off today. I don't work until this week. I don't even work till Saturday.
Good.
So I'm good.
Where do I sign up for that gig? 10% raise and don't work till Saturday.
You too can make $11 an hour.
I actually need it. I don't think you do. So, Doc, be well, my friend. Have a great rest of your day and the rest of your week. Appreciate the time as always.
All right, Tom. Thank you.
All right, buddy. Paul Daugherty, kind enough to join us as always. Legendary. Retired, semi-retired. He's retired with Cincinnati.com and with the Cincinnati Enquirer, but still going strong. The Morning Line. He's got all kinds of gigs going on. Elliot, what is all of this stuff about you getting fired, you being replaced? Could you give me the very genesis of this very hot topic inside the chat today?
Well, yeah. Topic number one is none of them spell my name right, except for Mouse. Mouse is the only one, and Mark. There's a couple guys that spell my name right. The other guys don't spell my name right, Tom, and it gets frustrating. The other thing is that
why you type in capital letters? Because they
yeah, just so they know. And the other thing is sometimes Reed likes to have private meetings with some of the employees here at Chatterbox.
He does?
Yeah, he does. And every time he does that, it scares me because I think I'm going to get fired every single time he calls one of these private meetings. So Reed called a private meeting in here, and everybody was saying I'm going to get fired for it. So I don't know. Is today my last day?
Is there anything that you can think of? Now, see, it's interesting because I was listening to this sermon earlier today, driving in a car, but it talked about expectations and how we create these kinds of things in our mind, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So is there anything that would make you think that you could possibly be fired for?
I believe you owe us a wet. I haven't seen you wet yet.
Yeah, I have.
You have not been wet in a long time.
He did not own up to that.
He's
Luke
been a dry boy.
By the way,
he's been a dry boy for a while.
Luke Brenneman is coming in here Wednesday.
So
we're going to let him do it.
So then he'll get a sweat then. I couldn't do it Friday because I had to help clean up some of the stuff in the basement. So all my friends here, Paul I think left, and Jacob and Casey were down cleaning the basement. So there was nobody to dump water on me. Tom, I'm not going to ask you to come in at 4:00 on a Friday to dump water on my head. I'm not. I respect you too much, Tom. And look at Casey, double hat.
Now, see, that's a reason to maybe get fired.
What, this? What do you mean? I gotta wear it.
Why?
Because we gotta get fired up somehow, Tom. Gotta get fired up somehow. I'm gonna wear my Viking helmet in pride as we go and win this series.
That look has to be bad luck.
No, it's not bad luck. It's always brought me good fortune. Always brought me good fortune.
It was asked in the chat. I'm going to get to this in a second. Blackmore 1964 says, "Where is Luke?" Luke is at home right now, or maybe he's at work, but he's coming in blue collar Brenny.
Blue collar Brenny.
He will be. I brought this up before when I was doing a different podcast, audio only. And I mean, I had Bob Costas on there, Troy Aikman on there, Joe Buck on there. I mean, you know, bunch of guys. The most listened to one we ever had was the one I did with my daughter after her high school graduation. So Luke just graduated from high school a month ago. So we're going to bring him in for our big interview on Wednesday. So he will be here on Wednesday, Elliot. That will be the day.
Okay.
Because you lost the bet to him,
I
for
didn't lose
those
the
that
bet.
weren't around.
I lost the bet.
All-Star game bet.
Yeah, I said Zach Allen would not give, or I said Zach Allen would give up a run. He said he would not. I lost. I have to get wet.
So you're going to be wet on Wednesday.
Wet Wednesdays. A wet Wednesday.
Wet Wednesday.
That's tough.
There's
Is
nothing
anybody-
Elliot loves more.
Yeah, seriously. Is anybody prepared? What if we're on the Jumbotron tonight? What should the reaction be? What should we do for if we're all
Well, I
on the
think it all
Jumbotron?
depends on whose face they're putting up there.
Okay. So what if it's my face?
I think it gets thunderous applause.
Okay.
I think we got to have a bucket of water ready just in case Elliot gets on the Jumbotron.
What about Casey and his double hat?
Mass booze.
I think he gets booed.
I don't think he gets booed. I think if he's got the Viking helmet on, I think he gets. I think they cheer for you.
Tom,
Are
if
you bringing that to the game tonight? Are you allowed to bring
yeah.
that in?
Yeah, I'm going to bring this. I can't remember who in this chat is going as well.
You got to lose a Reds lid underneath it, though.
Correct. It's a one-hat game.
Yeah, that's right.
Fine. Y'all don't like the...
Tom,
Now that's cheers.
Tom, if they put you on the Jumbotron, would you put on that hat?
No. No.
You would not don the Viking helmet?
No. I'm curious. Do you guys think that Viking thing has gotten tired?
I don't hate it.
No, I don't think so.
I'm not a huge fan of
They
any
can't
of
do it next season, though. Like, it's a one-season deal. You do it this season, you call it a day, and you create something new in spring training.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a once-a-year sort of thing that you change out.
Yeah.
Every team does it, so it's all right.
Yeah.
Every team.
I got no problem with it at all. I think it's kind of cool. Although reading poems. Has reading poems been in here before?
Reading Poems has made his or her debut today and has been very strong in the chat.
Says, I always thought the Viking thing was lame. I can see why people would think that.
I do like his second point that it should be something that relates to the Reds. I mean, I know we all hate the Brewers right now, but them doing the cheesehead, that's actually a Milwaukee thing.
That's a cool thing.
Like, I wish
Yeah.
it was something Reds related, not just a Viking.
Well, what's something that you could wear that's Cincinnati related or Reds
I don't know.
related?
That's what I mean.
Well, you could do something with like a flying pig, right?
Just like a...
Casey would want to slaughter a pig after every home
Yeah,
run.
he would. A Sky Rosa. Every time you hit a home run, you have to eat a Sky Rosa.
They got those Coney head helmets.
What is in our buffet tonight, by the way? Does anybody know?
Montgomery Inn.
Yeah, it's usually barbecue, hot dogs, sauerkraut, and mac and cheese. That's usually the buffet.
Is this going to be unlimited? So if I want 10 hot dogs, can I eat 10 hot dogs?
And they do like popcorn, peanuts. They do all that.
Okay, but
That's usually what they do.
Is there a limit? Is what I'm asking.
I don't know. No.
No limit?
I mean, like
Unlimited.
eventually the buffet stops. Like it's 7th or 8th inning, they pick the food up. But till then, yeah, it stays hot.
Get your money's worth.
Get your money's
So,
worth.
I mean, are you talking about barbecued ribs, chicken, or are you talking about
pulled-
like a pulled pork sandwich
Pulled pork.
kind of thing?
It's usually pulled pork, little hamburger, cheeseburger sliders.
You left that part out.
Mac
Okay.
and cheese, and then one of the other dishes is usually a
Coleslaw or
brat.
something.
Well, it's like a brat, hot dog, sauerkraut, one of those
Okay.
pans.
What will you be partaking in?
The pulled pork and the mac and cheese is really good.
Casey?
Pulled pork.
Yeah.
Gents?
Hot dogs. Whenever I go to a game, I get hot dogs. Has to be hot dogs.
More than one?
2 hot dogs. I get 2 hot dogs a game.
Mustard?
No mustard.
Ketchup?
No ketchup.
Good.
Ugh.
Good.
Just raw dog.
Just a plain hot dog. I like it the old-fashioned way. The way it was meant to be had.
Jake?
Ketchup and mustard for me, but hot dogs. Hot dogs, hot dogs.
I like some hot
I
dogs.
said to
too.
my daughter last night, ketchup on a great sausage or hot dog or brat is like sin.
Big ketchup guy.
Agreed.
When you go to Milwaukee, that's the home. That's that's the home of the brat, right?
It was phenomenal there.
They're the best. They soak them in Miller beer all night, and then you throw them on the grill. That's the way you make them up there in Wisconsin. They soak all night in Miller beer, and then they throw them on the grill the next day. Tailgate, Packers, Brewers, whatever. And it's got to be like that golden brown mustard, a certain kind. And when I watched my daughter last night smother this sausage in ketchup, and I mean, when I say smothered, you couldn't even see the sausage, and the thing's like that thick. And she's got and I'm like, what are you doing to that thing? Ugh. All right. There was something I was getting ready to ask you guys as well. Doggone it, it's about tonight. Oh, what is the, so for a lot of people who bought the ticket ahead of time, they got the merch.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I asked around when I got here early this morning, some guys over in Headlines, they made the shirts, right?
Yep.
I was asking if we had any shirts laying around here. Because, we've got the biggest wig of all coming down from UDF, our big sponsor tonight coming down, right? Got another sponsor coming down. Be nice to be able to give those guys a big league t-shirt, right?
That's right.
So are you guys, I mean, we're going to a ballpark, and I'm all about the t-shirt kind of thing, but we are representing Chatterbox Sports. So, Paul, are you wearing that collared red shirt, or are you putting on a T-shirt?
I don't know if our shirt order is in. If our shirt order is in, then I'll probably wear the red shirt that has Cincinnati across the chest. I got one of those. I know there are some pickup orders available. If ours is available, I'll probably wear that. And if not, that's why I wore the polo today, because I'm just going to go straight to the game.
Casey, are you in? You got got the collared shirt going.
Yeah, I got it. It's not Reds sponsored. It's just a red polo. I would like to wear our stuff that we got. That's what I would hope for. If not, I'm probably just gonna wear this down there.
I plan on wearing a shirt. If the shirt is
T-shirt.
Yeah, T-shirt. If our shirts are ready, I plan on wearing my Harambe shirt with pride.
Yeah, absolutely.
Harambe.
Harambe. One of our shirts is Harambe.
What the hell's Harambe got to do with Chatterbox Sports?
Cincinnati
That's
legend.
the gorilla.
He's a Cincinnati guy.
You ever been to the city of Cincinnati, Tom?
I think I've been there a time or two. I know who Harambe is. I'm asking, what's that got to do with Chatterbox?
That's the gorilla. That's
where are
on
we
the
located?
TV.
It's got everything to do because that's our spirit. That's our guy. He was taken from us way too soon. Casey was probably the one who did it, and now we just represent Harambe. Now we represent Harambe any way we can. It's a really cool picture. It's Harambe swinging a bat in the City Connect jerseys. So yeah, I that's what I plan on wearing. I think it'll be fun.
I got one of the Crawl-Aid shirts, and I can't think of a better night to wear that than CES's debut. So I'm hoping those shirts are in.
Crawl what?
Crawl-Aid. Drink the Crawl-Aid, Tom.
Like Kool-Aid.
It's like Kool-Aid.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
So instead of the Kool-Aid Man
It's Nick
logo,
Kroll.
it's Nick Kroll in the bucket of Kool-Aid.
Do you need to? Let's just show.
Let's
Let's pull it up.
The merch. Okay, and we're going to grade these.
Yes.
All
Yes.
right? We're
This
going
is
to
a great
grade
idea.
the merch. Okay?
This is a great idea.
So here we go. What is this?
That's
so
Harambe up there.
That's Harambe.
Harambe is holding the bat
Yeah.
Yes.
Let
in
me
a Reds uniform.
let me do some live editing here real quick. Let me
Here
zoom
we go.
in and.
Little inside baseball here.
So that's Harambe.
Okay, in gray and black.
Yep, you can see that, right?
Okay, is there anything that tells you about Chatterbox?
There's a Chatterbox logo
It's
on the back of every shirt.
On the back of every shirt, there's a Chatterbox logo.
Okay,
You
so
see that?
all right, hold on. Where are we going to put the ranking on Harambe? 1 to 10, 10 being the best, 1 being the worst.
I love the Harambe.
9.7 for me. 9.7.
It's my second favorite shirt on the site, so I'm going to go with a 9 as well.
Gents?
I love it. I love it. I don't know if it could be any more perfect.
I'm going to get a lot of hate for this.
Oh, God.
It's not one of my favorite shirts.
Well, of course it's not, because there's an animal involved.
I mean, that's I'm just one of those guys that treats Harambe very seriously. I mean, I don't think it's a joke. I don't think this is a joke.
When you kill
it's not
him.
a joking matter. But I guess the rest of y'all think it's
Tom,
a joke.
your grade?
I'm giving that a solid 8.
Okay, I like that.
I really like that design.
I'm not
All
gonna-
right, next up we have Crawl Aid. Can you zoom in on that, Casey, please?
Yes, I can.
The chat, by the way, gave that 2s and 3s and 4s on Harambe.
That's terrible.
This one's my runaway favorite shirt.
Yeah, this is one of
10
my
out of
favorites.
10.
It's a great shirt.
Elliot?
I'm gonna give it a 7.
Yeah, I was going to go 7.3.
Casey?
I'm going to give this an 8.7.
Okay. All right, what's next?
And we just got a plain
red
Cincinnati
shirt.
It's in white
That's
and red
solid.
and red and
That's
white.
a solid 10.
That's one of the ones I got.
Solid, traditional, solid.
Yeah, I
like
love that one too.
I give it a 6.
What?
No creativity, Tom.
Do you hate your city?
No creativity.
Not a lot of creativity going on there. It's a good shirt, but
There's nothing creative
You
about
don't
the
need to be
Yankees
creative.
uniforms year after year. They're still the Yanks,
it's true.
right?
It's true.
Like Notre Dame's helmet, Penn State's helmet, Alabama's helmet, right?
If you put a pinstripe on there, I'll give it a 10. But until then, it gets a 6 for
That
me.
shirt wins 27 World Series. We'll have a different take.
That's right.
Alex says Cincinnati in gray is better. Okay, what do we have next?
Believe. I love this one. This one gets a 10 for me. This one's a perfect
Zoom in
one.
on that, please, Casey.
Yes, sir.
So this is with the stash. This was a suggested by the way, David Brown. When we're talking about
Yes.
things the Reds could have instead of the Viking in the dugout, is putting on this stash. I think that's a great idea.
You could do the stash with the hat.
Yeah,
I do like
Mr.
that.
Red hat.
That'd be big
great.
time. That'd be big time.
Yeah.
All right, Believe. Go around the horn here, Casey.
This is going to get an 8.3 for me. I like this one a lot.
Oh, I love this shirt. I absolutely love this shirt. This might be my favorite shirt in the store. I'm going to go 9.3.
Do you have to be a mustache guy to like this shirt?
No.
Okay, just checking.
No,
Go
no.
ahead.
Well, so this is a playoff. The show.
Whoa.
Nope. No, it's not.
No.
No, it's
we
not.
established that.
No, it is not.
Oh, it's not.
Say that again.
Legally, it is not.
Legally, it's not.
No, that's not even what I was going with.
Then what are you talking about? Don't speak. We're on a show here. What are we talking about?
No. Remember I sent it in the chat?
No.
Ted Lasso walked so that the Polar Express walked so that
well,
Ted
you're a
Lasso
clown.
could run.
So, Tom, it's a show called Ted Lasso.
I've
It's a
watched
soccer
all
show.
of Ted Lasso.
You know the sign.
It's
Despite the fact that there's any soccer involved.
That's correct. And this is a playoff that I love it. It gets a 9.8 for me. Better than the Harambe one.
Yeah, this is absolutely fantastic.
Jake?
We'll go 8-1. It is third behind Harambe and Crawl Aid so far for me.
Okay, all right. And then over here, extend the playoff of Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
I love
Extend
this too.
Bell. Boy, Paul is the ultimate company man here. He loves every shirt.
Yeah, he is.
Well, I mean, how much do I talk
come
about?
on.
How much do I talk about Taco Bell?
Is this your favorite too?
No. The Believe one is.
Oh, okay.
The Believe one
I
is.
thought all of them have been your favorites.
No. The Believe one is. I didn't get this one.
This is one of the ones that I did.
I
get.
should have,
I'm a
though.
big David Bell guy.
It's very on brand for me.
This is by and large getting a lot of low numbers here. A 3, a 5, a 0, a 5, a 5, a 1.
They're
a
not grading
2,
the shirt there. They're grading David
and then
Bell.
you jump up to 10. 4.6. Mr. Hamiltucky. Is that Reed Mouse?
That's Mouse.
No,
Cop.
that's
Burner
Mouse
account?
Cop.
That's
Mouse
Mouse
Cop
Cop.
changed
Changed
his
his name.
changed his
You
name.
have got to be kidding me.
He can change it back. He'll probably change it back eventually. But
Yeah.
Just for the show.
Why in the world would he change his name? He has built up a stellar reputation in this chat.
Well, now he wants to build it up as Mr. Hamiltucky.
Okay.
I'm surprised Trace didn't make a Trade India shirt with the way he hates Jonathan India.
I would have bought 10.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't have.
All right, what else do we have here? Here's another play off the stash and the Viking helmet.
Love it.
I love this one. This is one of my favorite ones.
That's
a big
solid.
league
That is
shirt right
solid.
there.
Yeah.
9.6 for me.
Jake?
Go right around there as well, 9.5.
Paul?
I'm gonna go like 7, 8.
Case?
8.9 for me, Tom.
8.9. Wow.
Here's another
Just
one.
short of a 9 there.
This one's for you, Tom.
By the hype, this one is not for me. This gets very low numbers for me. Go ahead.
I'm in.
So this is my favorite.
'Cause I
out of the
don't
whole
buy
bunch. This is my favorite out of the whole bunch. I said we should have put a little, what is it? A copyright or a
TM.
A TM trademark. Sir Boy Wonder on the bottom of this, because he definitely is the one that started this whole buy the hype train. So this is a 9.1 for me.
By the way, Harry Yepram Jr., is that it? Who I've never seen in the chat before, says if we put glasses on the last T-shirt, that would be Casey.
Yeah, that would basically be me.
That is a solid take right there. Welcome to the chat, young man.
By the hype, that gets a 8.9 for me.
I think we all like this one.
3.2. We just got swept by the Brewers.
Next shirt.
Next shirt. I think we only have 2 left, right?
Now these two are I guess 3.
Oh, 3 left.
3 left. Okay, what do we got there on the left, Case? Zoom in on that a little bit. What is this?
So this is Reds Hot. I think it's a play from older Reds teams, maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Or just the phrase red hot.
It's just
Or
red
red.
hot. With
Is
Popular
it just
phrase.
Reds Hot? I thought there was something else because of the cassette tape. I don't know.
Okay, rankings on this.
I'm going to give it a 5.1.
I'll go 5.2.
Paul,
Price is right.
6.1.
Case.
Yeah, I was gonna give it a 6.
Okay.
All right, so this one's low. This one's the lowest one so
Yeah,
far.
it's low.
These
It's
next two
low.
are big league shirts.
Ronnie Smith liked it though. What's this one? The black one.
Chatterbox brand.
Chatterbox.
Just straight up. I mean, that's
That's a good
solid.
shirt.
That's a
So-
10.0.
That's a 10 shirt.
That's a 10.
That is a 10. So just so people know, if you haven't gotten your shirts yet, that little logo there is what's on the back of the shirt right underneath the neck, and it's about that size.
That's solid. Solid. 10s across the board. Ronnie, Andrew, the real spirit cat, Matt Bailey. He says, no good, Matt Bailey. Andrew says 10 out of 10. I like this one.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, this is good. And then we have one more.
I believe there's
And then this might be my favorite out of the whole bunch. I don't think it gets a lot of love though, because that's at the bottom. Look at this.
I want to know how
What
many
does
of
it
these.
say?
It's Nut Cutter Nation.
Oh,
I want to know.
I mean, solid 10. Does that come in any other colors?
I don't think so. I think it's just black.
Zoom in on that a little bit. Let me see what you got going on there.
little acorn up top.
Little acorn at the top
Acorn?
For a nut.
for a nut.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. All right. Nut Cutter Nation, that's a solid 10. What do you guys give that?
Oh, that's a 10.
Yeah,
That's a 10.
that's an elite shirt.
10.
Those OG off the bench fans will be all over that one.
If you were young and single, like 2 guys are in here, and you walked around constantly, down to the banks tonight, say after the
Yeah.
game or pre-game,
Yeah.
and you're walking around with Nut Cutter Nation on your shirt, great talking point,
Absolutely.
right?
You
Of
get
all
to-
the shirts
yes.
we have, that is the best talking points shirt.
Yes.
You get to talk about how it was conceived, or the shirt was conceived. Well, you get to talk about all your favorite. I'm struggling right now.
Casey?
What are we conceiving?
What I was trying to say is you get to talk about all your favorite. Never mind. Just never mind.
Go ahead, Casey.
No,
Don't leave yourself out there,
I'm
Casey.
good. I'm all right. I'm good.
Yeah, you get to talk about the conception of the shirt.
Yeah. Right.
The nuts.
Reed Mouse wants to get a Nut Cutter Nation shirt in small, like a lot of the shirts he wears here on the.
Yeah, he wears extra small.
He does. So those guns, right? Sun's out, guns out.
Yep.
You got to make them pop somehow.
A lot of people want to know if Reed is wearing those 5-inch shorts. I told you I learned all about this when I went to J. Crew. because my wife was all over me about wearing the 9-inch shorts. She's like, look, you know, you try to take care of yourself. You're lean, whole deal. Those 9-inch shorts that hang down above your kneecaps, right? Mm-hmm. She's like, it makes you look old. I am old, but it makes you look old. She's like, you got to lose those. So I went into J. Crew, and I found out that shorts are made in 9-inch, 7-inch, 5-inch. Reed wears the 5. I don't know anybody else besides college guys in high school. You wear the 5?
5-inch shorts or pants. Only 2 options. And I'm wearing pants in here every day.
Yeah, 5 inches is crazy, but to each their own.
Paul, I mean, you go on the 5-inch ride?
No, I think I do. Well, yeah, I got longer legs. I think I usually go with 7.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah.
Your long legs?
Yeah. In case.
I'm looking at Paul's shorts right now from where I'm sitting, and they look like a 3-inch.
They're getting up there.
Let me just show everyone the chat real quick how short these shorts are.
They really are. Yeah, I mean, what are you talking about, Paul?
Those
are 5-inch.
These are. They're not.
They're not 7.
Those are 3-inchers.
I mean, Reed's walking around here in extra small T-shirts and 5-inch shorts.
It's a shame. It's a shame, really.
Now, you guys wearing pants or shorts to the game tonight? I'm very interested in this because, look, here's the thing you face. And all of you have had this, okay? It doesn't matter where you work, right? You get invited to some social event from work, okay? And tonight we're going to have our biggest sponsors that are going to be at this thing tonight, okay? These are professional people. I mean, very highly successful people, okay? And we, in some to varying degrees, are the very face, or faces plural, of Chatterbox Sports and this business and brand we're trying to build. So, do we wear shorts tonight?
I have a long-standing opinion that I wear pants when I go out, even just like to the bar on a Friday night. I'm not wearing shorts if I'm going out in a social setting.
Okay.
Pants nonstop. I think
Elliot?
I've only worn shorts on the show one time.
Okay, Elliot?
Yeah, I'm going to be wearing shorts. I'm going to be wearing shorts. I'm going to look like a schlub. But that's okay. When you go to a ballpark, you're allowed to look like a schlub. All social conventions leave when you go to the ballpark.
I mean, I don't think I can get home in between the show and the game, so I think I'm going to wear pants unless I have a backup in the car. All right, sorry, I'm going to wear shorts. Sorry, I'm wearing what I got on now.
Casey?
I'm wearing what I got on right now.
Short.
Yes.
Well, guys in the chat are saying, that one guy says our topics are riveting. Look, we covered the Reds. We covered the Bengals. We've covered everything going on here today, right? We're in the last 10 minutes of the show. Lighten up a little bit. Nick Kirby says he's wearing shorts. He didn't even pack pants for his trip down from Cleveland. Most of the others say they're going with the shorts tonight. Mr. Hamiltucky says he's going with the long pants.
You ever seen Sopranos, Tom?
I have.
A Don never wears shorts. Always remember that.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I hope it doesn't rain out.
That would be
miserable.
Real bummer.
David Brown says it's a work group outing, not a business meeting. Well, you're right. Alex says that Trace and I, at the very minimum, have to wear pants. All right. Ham and Eggers, take it away for a minute. We got 10 minutes to come back. We're going to do our, what do you call it?
Immaculate Grid.
Yeah, Immaculate Grid and a cherry on top.
All right.
It's that time of the show, the Ham and Eggers. These guys are great, trust me, I would know. I introduce all the best segments.
Well, something that we didn't really talk about yet, and we don't really talk about it much, but FC, they did win. Bopenza, their new striker, debuted, scored a goal. It was, they should have won that game. I mean, the 2 red cards for Nashville, like they just dominated for the last 30 minutes of that game, or I think it was 30 minutes, something like that.
After that second red.
Yeah.
Did you see Messi's introduction down in Miami? Did you watch the video last night of his introduction down in Miami? It was a sold-out stadium for his introduction.
I mean, America hasn't seen him yet. That's
except at Publix.
Except at Publix.
Which I heard there may be. Did you guys see that Messi at Publix last week?
In the high noon aisle.
Yeah. So I heard a little inside baseball here. I heard he's got a brand deal with Publix.
I'm the biggest Publix guy you'll ever meet.
Well, yeah, no, but I'm saying, everybody was like, he's going down to Miami and he's shopping at Publix now. He goes out one time and gets recognized at Publix, and Publix now has all this, I don't know, just something to keep an eye on. As you can tell, it is Monday after the Reds got swept.
We have the Open this weekend. Everett's asking about if Rory's a lock going into the weekend.
No chance he wins 2 in a row. No chance he wins 2 in a row, right?
I don't know. If he's ever been due for a major, it'd be right now. He's pretty due. But
yeah.
My fantasy league, we always use the Open to determine our draft order, and I got stuck with Brooks this week, so I'm on the Brooks train.
I mean, he just won yesterday. Won the Scottish. Great scenes.
Great scenes.
Can you expect him to win 2 in a row, though?
I would assume not.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. Let's do the Immaculate Grid.
All right, let's do it. Here we go. Let's have at it. So we got Rangers, Astros, Nationals, Astros, Rangers, Dodgers, Nationals, Dodgers, and what's that last column?
Gold
Glove.
Oh, I thought it says 200 plus.
Oh, it says 200. 200.
Gold Glove at the bottom.
Correct.
So that means for what? For Texas down there at the bottom, you got to pick a Gold Glover?
Yes. It has to be a Gold Glove winner with the Rangers.
With the Rangers.
Yeah.
Okay, or with the Nationals, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Correct.
who wants to begin? Jake?
I can't think of a National Gold Glove winner other than Ryan Zimmerman.
So
wait. Hold on.
Let's not. I mean, we
Hold
have
on.
to get it right.
I can
pull something.
Yeah, hold on. I can pull. Strasburg may have won the Silver Slugger. I don't know.
All right, Casey, go to.
I don't think Strasburg won a Gold Glove.
No, I don't
Casey,
think
go to
he did.
Astro 200K season, and you're going to type in Roy Oswalt.
That's a good one.
My bad. Hang on. Roy and then Oswald?
Oswalt. Yep, Oswalt.
Okay. It's a 7%er.
Okay.
Solid.
Yeah, he won the Silver Slugger, not the Gold Glove. I knew he won one of the two.
We think old pitchers are lower percentages than new pitchers probably. Sandy Koufax for the Dodgers 200Ks.
Yep.
Oh yeah, easily. But that's going to be a high number.
I don't know.
Okay, I have one. I need
19.
I'm gonna look up and make sure that he won it with Washington. Hold on.
Are you thinking of the same guy I'm thinking of?
I'm thinking of one guy.
He's not known for playing for Washington.
I don't know. He bounced around all over. When I think of him, I think of Washington.
Then we're not thinking of the same guy.
Okay, hold on. Let me make sure he won this with Washington because I don't want to. You guys keep going.
All right, I'm going to go.
Yeah, he did. I got it.
Astros,
I got it.
Since his name came up earlier in the chat, or earlier in the show with Dave Flemming, I'm going to go with Hunter Pence.
For Astros.
Yes, Rangers. Hunter Pence, Pence. Only because his name came up earlier.
Hunt. Hunter Pence.
Okay, I got all the Nationals ones, I think.
What was that number on Pence?
4%. That's
there we go. Solid.
Okay,
solid. Once again.
Gold Glove Nationals. Let's do Adam LaRoche.
I was thinking Larry Walker, but I don't know if he won one for the Nationals.
Adam
or
L.A.
Yep.
Yeah, there you go.
6%.
Yeah, baby.
Good
All
stuff.
right, Dodgers Nats. Blake Trinan.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Good stuff, Paul.
Blake.
Yeah, there you go.
0.8%.
Bang, baby.
You got one more.
There we go. All right. Let me do a little soul searching on Nationals Astros.
So is that last column somebody who had a 200 strikeout season as a pitcher and won a Gold Glove?
Correct.
That's a lock, Greg Maddux. He won more Gold Gloves than any pitcher all time. Lock.
Greg Maddux.
Greg Maddux, lock.
60%.
60%.
Oh, 60%.
60%.
I know it's the first time I've had one more than 4%.
Adrian Beltre for Ranger Gold Glove.
What was his name?
Adrian
what?
Beltre.
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 28.
All right. I'm Tony Sipp, Nats Astros from Nick Mormon.
Wow.
There we go.
Tony Sipp.
There's one.
Left-handed reliever.
Astros and Houston. Or
Astros.
and
Wait. Yeah, Astros Nats. Tony Sipp. That's a great one.
Tony.
SIPP. There you go.
Tony Sipp.
No.
It was there.
It was there. It's at the top. There it is.
2%.
2%. Let's
Solid.
go. All right.
All right,
Paul's
go
been
ahead.
killing it.
Somebody else. Rangers and Dodgers. We're down to we're at the end.
Need a low one.
Wait.
Need a low one.
Does that one work? I didn't know he played there. Hold on. No, he did not.
There's an obvious
The
one.
the most recognizable one. His face is already up there,
Yep.
but we're not going to guess him because it'd be a high number.
Corey Seager.
There you go. Solid pick.
Is that with a C? Corey C.
Yeah.
Yes. Corey. Corey.
R-E-Y. And then S. Come on, man. E-Y. Seager.
What the hell's going on over there?
There we go. Wait, scroll down. Let's see who the most popular people were.
So we picked two of the same. We picked two high ones.
Yeah, that's my fault. I that's just the first name that popped into my mind. I forgot the game we're playing here.
Nick Mormon. Mark Teixeira played for the Los Angeles Angels, not the Dodgers.
Now, Paul, do you look at this accuracy chart at all? Because that was a 36%er you got there with the Astros and Nationals. It's pretty good. It's not bad.
This is all the rage. This game, right?
Yep.
Oh, it's great.
Football version will be starting soon.
I cannot wait for that time.
There are a couple out there already, but they're not up to snuff yet with what that baseball one is. So you give them some time.
Okay. Do we have a cherry on top?
Casey Dewey? I might. I don't. I do not. Do you?
I do not have any.
You know what it should have been if there was one today, and I should have brought this up. Did you see the interview with the women's champion from Wimbledon about the Harry Styles thing?
No.
Did you see this?
No.
So she apparently had tickets to go see Harry Styles, right? She had to cancel going because she made it to the Wimbledon finals. So whoever was doing the interview asked her about it afterwards, right there, center court.
Oh, I have it. You want me to play it?
No, it's okay. It was just cute. Yeah. Where she and her husband's in the stands, right? And she's asked about it, and she puts up, the love thing, right? The heart thing, right? For Harry Styles. And just says, gosh, I'm so bummed I had to miss it. Well, apparently, Harry Styles saw it, and he said, we're playing in town 4 more nights. You can come to every single one of them. So that was pretty cool.
The other little cherry on top, the United States of America, the United States of the Wildcats won the gold medal in that little tournament they were
Cal! Leader of men, Cal. That's a leader of men.
Beat Canada again.
Leader of men. Cal's got it going on. And that is just the first step of many big steps for Cal and the Big Blue this upcoming season. Elliot, you on board with the Big Blue?
Well, yeah, I am more than the Kentucky fans are. So yeah, I'd say I'm riding the Big Blue.
All right, fellas, give me quickly before we say goodbye your over-under on beer consumption, knowing you're not driving tonight. Casey, over-under. Degenerate minute before we leave.
So all of us or just me?
For you.
For me, I'm at least going to put it at 4. At least 4 for me.
I'm driving, so.
Okay, well, then you're out.
I'm out.
I don't drink that much, Tom, so I'm going to put it at 1.
All right. Jake?
We get 2 for free, so I'm going 4.5.
Okay. Solid.
Solid. Man.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it. We're looking forward to seeing everybody out there tonight. Hope you can join us. Hopefully the weather. Come on, Mother Nature. Need a good night tonight. Chatterbox Sports Night. Great American Ballpark. Reds and the Giants. 7:10 tonight. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
There is a box lunch today.
There is.
There is a box lunch. Just informed.
All right, hang on, because pull it up, Casey.
I got to pull it
You
up.
know what it is.
No, don't do it
Because
again.
tomorrow,
No, don't do it again.
we talked so much about
do it again.
Anthony DeSclafani coming off the disabled list to pitch for the Giants tomorrow. Tomorrow is also the first start for Luke Dream Weaver since the All-Star break. So, as we go to box lunch, we look forward to seeing many of you later tonight. We leave you with our good friend Elliot in honor of Luke Dream Weaver.
I must admit, I didn't think much of this show the first time I laid eyes on it. Seemed like a bunch of stiffs wasting nice
The worst
microphones.
trade of all time happened back in 1803. Go ahead. Napoleon Bonaparte traded the Louisiana Purchase for $3 million. Napoleon, what happened? Half the country for $3 million. You can't even get Tucker Barnhart for $3
Then
million
I came to realize
anymore.
these guys are funny.
And Justin Fields have identical stats the last 5 weeks about throwing the football. This guy, okay,
And
folks,
are
is a
some of the
fidget
best
spinner.
gamblers I've come to know.
If you're betting on USC and or TCU, let it be known you are a square.
TCU is going to hammer this team tomorrow night.
I hate to hear that.
Tomorrow
When we come back
afternoon.
in here on Monday, you're going to be happy as a lark because USC lost, but you're going to be wrong about TCU.
Get ready for the most useless hour of your day. It's time for Boxed Lunch, presented by Betfred Sportsbook. Now, Casey, run that track.
I like it, Casey. You've used that a few times now. I've said it reminds me of a band that was popular back then. Their debut album called Royal Blood. Good hard rock band. I don't know if any of you guys know that. I've asked you guys that already, and none of you guys said. Welcome to Box Lunch. It's the most useless hour of your day. It's Chatterbox Night today at Great American Ballpark, and I can't wait to go. I'll be there. My wife will be there. All you guys will be there, and we'll get to watch a game together. I'm most excited to watch a game with Elliot because me and Elliot are best friends.
Best friends in the whole wide world, Reed.
That's right.
In the whole wide world.
I've got the little tuft of hair. You've got the soul patch, and it's just a match made in heaven.
Yes.
It's just a match made in
What's your
heaven.
attire tonight, Reed?
I'm gonna be wearing the shortest shorts I can find.
That's smart.
I'm then gonna go look in Mariana's closet to see if there's any T-shirts that I can put on.
Okay.
So that's just gonna be the MO. I'm gonna find the tightest shirt and the shortest shorts and rock and roll.
Jolly Jolly wants a vlog of the night. I'm with Jolly Jolly on that one. We should be vlogging tonight.
Yeah.
Or at least be tweeting. We'll have some content from the night.
Everett Henry's a Royal Blood fan. Yeah. Hell yeah. Royal Blood's great. I think one of their songs was a walk-up song for the Bluffton Beavers. Back when I was a sophomore. Absolutely. 190. Struck out in a third of my at-bats. Great year. All right, guys. How was your weekend? Before we get into the Reds and everything like that, I know they're the Reds, but I mean, it was a nice, lovely weekend. How are you guys? I haven't seen you in a while.
Doing great, Reed. Just doing great.
That's good, Paul.
Yeah.
Paul, that's good.
I'm
Casey,
just doing great.
Casey, how are you?
I'm doing great. Fantastic, Reed.
Yes.
Is this what we're doing? We're just going around saying everything was great? Is that what we're gonna do here?
Well,
You can be
no,
honest.
outside of baseball,
How
how
was your weekend, guys? It was great. Casey, great. Jacob,
Outside of baseball, how was the
Great.
weekend, Elliot?
I had a good weekend. I didn't do a whole lot, but I got to watch some losing Reds. What was that?
You know what I did? I played Aston Oaks on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
That's down by you, right?
Correct. Great golf course.
About the 15th hole. I don't know if I've ever played golf in harder rain. And I was going to text you. I didn't, but I was going to. I'd like that on the record that I was going to text you that it was pouring down rain and I was right by your house, so I felt like a little wet boy in honor of you.
West Side Wet Boys.
You could have come on over.
The West Side Wet Boys.
I would. My God. All right. You could have come over. Everybody. By the way, everybody in this room is welcome to my house. I have a hot tub.
You have a hot tub?
We have a hot tub.
Tom has not beaten home that you have a hot tub enough.
No, not at all. We can have a hot tub party. But yeah, the weekend was good, Reed. I think it wasn't my best weekend. Wasn't my worst. It was in the middle.
Tom came on out in that final break that he took in the final 10 minutes. He goes, Reed, they're killing you in there on the chat. I was like, Tom, it seems like you're leading the charge. What are you talking about? They're killing me in the chat. You're the one bringing it all up. Jacob, how are you?
I had a good weekend as well.
Good. I'm glad you guys had a good weekend because one team in particular did not.
Oh, no.
Can you feel it?
You love this.
The Reds are in a panic. I don't know if you feel it. I don't know how. I don't really have a thumb on the pulse of the Cincinnati Reds fan base. Never been a fan. Obviously work with a bunch of fans. But the team themselves, they're in a panic. For the first time in 2 months, the offense slumps for a series and a half. And they immediately cave into the fans and bring up CES, who has an undefined role on the team. He's not going to get, every at-bat, not going to play every game for the rest of the year. So you're just bringing him up because the fans want it? They bring up a slugger just because the offense didn't score for 3 games. They lose 4 games in a row. Listen, this is a team that for the past month and a half has been defined by potent offense. Crooked number innings, comebacks, and all the precipitory things that come with great offense. The talk was always, how can we get some pitching to help this team to really compete? And when the team gets good pitching, the bats go deathly silent. It has short-circuited the front office in all seriousness. I mean, before the season, it was easy. The expectations were easy to comprehend. Just develop some young talent, flip Will Myers at the deadline for some more prospects, and see who is on this roster that can be kept around going forward. And now 1 month, 6 weeks, whatever you want to call it, of great play has backed the Cincinnati Reds into a corner. This is a team that is marred by inconsistency, a flawed young roster, and they're panicking. This team can't win the division. They're 2-8 against the Brewers. The only other team that at one point could win the division, make the playoffs. And even if, they squeak by and do make the playoffs, it's not going to be because they won the division. It's because the Brewers lost it. And even if they make the postseason, is there any team that the Reds feel comfortable enough beating? No. Too inconsistent. And we saw how the team reacts in big games. In front of sellout crowds at home for 3 straight days and get swept. We talked about how the season is cruxed on this 6-game stretch against the Milwaukee Brewers. And the Reds go 1-5, and all of a sudden it's not that big of a deal. It's not that important. They'll be fine. Play them again here soon. All I know is this team, they're not really sure what to do. And the front office is scrambling.
Are you done?
I'm going to have a fun day on Twitter.
Are you done?
Let's clip that out.
I went to the bathroom and came back. He's still talking about it.
Are you finished? Are you done?
I'm done. I'm
done.
done.
That was maybe the worst segment Chatterbox has ever done right there. I mean, what a disgrace. You talk about potent offense. That stunk. That stunk. The potence of that speech.
I
was
went to the
terrible.
bathroom, came back, and he's still going on over here.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. We
He
should have stopped that,
He has
Jacob.
to enjoy Reds losses as much as possible because the Cubs aren't very good.
In all seriousness, the Reds are okay. It's a brutal way to lose to the Brewers. You can't lose 5 of 6. They lost 5 of 6. It sucks. Getting swept after the All-Star break when everybody gets their rest, not a good look. However, everybody in this room predicted 1 and 2 except for Casey. So I think it's not like a giant shock that we're swept. There's no need to go in panic mode yet. We're 2 games back. The Reds are 2 games back. The Brewers have a brutal schedule coming up. Granted, so do the Reds. But I think there's a lot of losses in play for both of these teams. And the third-place team sucks. They're not even remotely close. Not even competitive. Who's the third-place team, Jacob?
The Northsiders, Chicago Cubs.
The Chicago Cubs. Okay, so that team sucks. They'll be sellers at the deadline. It's a 2-team race right now. The other 3 teams aren't even worth mentioning, especially the Cubs. They killed Steve Bartman. So now, you go through this, and it's like the Reds are okay. There's 70-plus games left. We're all right. This is okay.
What was the talk before this 6-game stretch against the Brewers? The season relies on this game, and then it's 1 and 5, and now it doesn't matter.
Paul said it never mattered. Paul was on the wagon that
the week before the series happened, not the week before this sweep, and not right before a 3-game series. But when we were looking at the schedule at the beginning of July, and we saw that 6-game stretch against the Brewers, we sat on this show, we sat on Off the Bench, and said that's it right there. Those 6 games, 3 in, 3 out against the Brewers. What can we do in Milwaukee and then at home?
It was a
1 and 5.
It was a massive series. The Reds came up short, unquestionably. They came up short in the biggest moment. That's a fact. Yes, Paul.
Before the last 10-game stretch, we sat here and we asked, what do we want the Reds to do going into that last 10-game stretch? I think I said 7-3. Isn't that what they did? 7-3.
Yep.
I said they were going to get killed by the Brewers. Got killed by the Brewers. It's just how it goes. It is what it is.
2-8 against the Brewers. 2-8.
There's 100
each series before we go into it. This is a big series. Can mount something here.
And that's true. We win that series. We're up 4 games in the division probably. You miss an opportunity to gain a lot of ground there, but you don't have to win those games. Yes, it was a massive opportunity. There's 60-something games against everyone else in the league, and we do pretty well against everyone else in the league.
Let me ask a genuine question. The Reds have a bad week of baseball this week. Not saying it will. I'm just proposing the hypothetical question. They lose 4 games against the Giants. Go into the weekend. Who do they got this weekend? Diamondbacks. So 2 good NL West teams. Diamondbacks are slumping. Giants are playing better ball. They lose both series, so that would require them to go 2 and 5 over the next 7 games. Yep. What does that mean? What does that mean for the Cincinnati Reds?
It means we're July 17th, and we still have every single minor leaguer we were hoping to see this year playing in the lineup. Moving the goalposts every single day is the most infuriating thing in the world. Let's just take a step back.
Let's plan them in then. What's the goalpost? I'm saying, dude, if they go 2 and 5, just Friday, Charlie Goldsmith was talking about how the Reds are buyers. They're going to go get starting pitching. They're actively looking. They get swept by the Brewers. They go 2 and 5 this series because they lose 2 in a row to the Diamondbacks and the Giants. They still buying?
I've been as anti-big move all year as anyone, so I don't know that I'm necessarily the right person to ask about that. But I don't know. I don't have a massive issue with the Reds team that's 6 games above 500 in the middle of July. We never thought we were going to be at 50 wins maybe this whole year, much less in the middle of July. I have no issue. We want to get the young guys up here because we say we'd rather watch them. We don't care if they struggle. And the first time they struggle, everyone wants to DFA Ellie. Let's calm down.
They should DFA Elliott.
I knew you'd say that.
That's a good move. And that makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, the Reds' Twitter overreaction was all about it yesterday until CES got the call.
I saw legitimate DFA Ellie tweets.
Yeah, it's tough to see.
I asked the question. I said, how long till we see DFA CES tweets? Are we getting through the week?
I love that everyone thinks that their fan base's Twitter is toxic.
Yeah.
Because every fan base Twitter is toxic. Every fan is overreaction. Every single time. You win 2 in a row. Who knows? Maybe we can get this going, lose 2 in a row. Let's DFA everybody. This team sucks. Never going to do anything. It's so much fun. Twitter's a great place. It truly is. You gotta get past the hate. I hate when people say that Twitter's a toxic place, because it is. But you don't need to air it out. It's still a fun place to be. Guys, last time I went to a Reds ball game. Ellie De La Cruz got called up. Saw Jacob there.
Yes.
$2 beer night.
Yes.
$3 beer night.
$2 beers would be dangerous.
Is the 33% up or 50% hike up to $3?
Well, $6 getting you 3 beers versus 2 is a big difference.
That's true. I can't deny that math. So last night, as Reds fans, give me your reaction when you hear that Christian Encarnacion Strand's getting called up. Elliot, give me your reaction to CES getting the call up.
We still haven't seen the corresponding move, correct?
No, there's nothing. I was just on Reds transaction.
So I am a little concerned at what that's going to be. If I had to guess, it's going to be an IL stint for somebody. I don't know who would get the phantom IL.
Kevin Newman didn't play this whole last series, had a lot of opportunities to pinch hit against lefties, so that could be...
I don't see them DFAing Kevin Newman.
Oh, no, as an
just
IL
stint.
Yeah,
Okay.
he also has an option, so that is
okay.
on the table.
Senzel, maybe I could see, and then the obvious one is Casali. But for some reason, the Reds just refuse to acknowledge that the 3 catchers are a waste of time and space. So I think it will be a phantom IL. But I'm very happy. Strand should have been up. Arguably he should have been up as soon as he got healthy, right after he was injured to end spring training. I'd argue that he should have been up before McLean and Ellie. So with the way he was playing over there, and he's continued it all season long for the Bats, I'm very, very excited. I don't know what his role will be.
Yeah, what is his role?
Because I think it's going to be he plays first against lefties, right? And then I think
No, lefties.
Yeah, lefties. That's what I said. It doesn't matter. Either way, first against lefties, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what I said. Okay. I don't know. Who cares? First against lefties, and then he DHs when he's not doing that. He has to play every day. Trace has been saying it on Chatterbox Reds, and I agree that you don't bring these guys up for them to just platoon or bench.
I hate to agree with Reed, but this does feel like the first instance of Nick Krall bending to the fans and calling CES up. Depending on what this corresponding move is, I'm really worried about this move. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. You planted your flag in the sand that he was not going to come up without an injury or until September, and you have your first hiccup on offense and you call him up. Depending on what this move is, I'm worried.
Stop smiling. Why are you smiling? You're sick.
The reason the shtick works, the reason jokes land, the reason that insults hit is because there's always a little bit of truth in it.
That's the only part of what you said.
The Reds panicking is true. It feels like an overreaction of a move just because the offense was bad for a few games. The offense has been a top 5 offense over the past 6 weeks, if you include the last 3-4 games. And then now just like, all right, let's call up, because that's what the fans say after every game whenever they post the final score. Call up CES, call up CES, call up CES, and now it's going to happen.
I'd argue that having a guy that's statistically better than 3 of the guys on the current roster, having him up is a good move.
But how does that hurt CES if he doesn't play every day?
Right.
I think that hurts
in terms
CES.
of the development. If he's getting 12 at-bats a week at the major league level, how is that better than him getting 40 at-bats a week at the AAA level?
If he plays 5 days, if he plays 5 days a week, it's a bad move. In my opinion, if he plays 5 days a week, it's a bad move.
Listen, going back to the panic, the shtick. People, when we clip that out and put it on Twitter, people are gonna want my head on a platter. And it's because there's a little bit of truth. It's the same reason I get offended when you start talking bad about Hamilton. There's a little bit of truth when you call it old Hamiltucky. When you see a guy mowing the sidewalk, it's hard to defend that. It's hard to defend that.
I think it's an okay move. I don't think it's like some massive deal that he's here. Casali has to be dealt with at some point this season. I doubt it happens right now, but Casali cannot be on the roster in August. It just can't happen. So whether or not you wanted it now or later, it was going to happen. So why not now and help the team win? Help the offense when they're struggling the greatest throughout this season.
That's a great point. It was going to happen. It was pretty clear it was going to happen at some point this season. So might as well just bring him up now and ride it out and see how it goes.
The good thing about the Reds looking forward is even if they slump and lose a few series in a row and it's looking bleak on making the postseason, winning the division, a buying Reds team and a selling Reds team don't look all that differently.
Correct.
They don't. It's going to be largely the same roster. Even if they do a buying move, you got to think that it's going to be a low ends, not a needle mover. Just something to help get over the hump if that hump shall present itself. And same with selling. I mean, what pieces do you sell? I mean, Nick Senzel, Kevin Newman, they don't have a market. Jonathan India is really the only piece that we could see go. Am I missing anybody off the top of my head?
Also, moving Nick Senzel and Kevin Newman does not open up a spot against right-handers. They haven't played against right-handers in months, so you're still not having UDFA Kevin Newman. Kirk Casale hasn't played since July 4th. Like that, DFA and Kirk Casale opens up nothing. So I think this move is a little bit more intricate than we think. I'm really waiting to see what that transaction is. I really wonder if there is a trade, because that seems like the only rational thing to get a right-hander out of the lineup. I don't know what it would be.
Would it be a certain handsome, long-haired second baseman?
That makes the most sense to call CES up.
I can't imagine there's a trade and we haven't heard about it yet.
That is the only.
That's why
because
last night when it happened immediately, I thought trade, and the fact it's been 17 hours and we haven't heard anything, there's no way it's a trade.
But we haven't seen anything else either.
Well, we didn't when Ellie got called up either. Ellie, they held on.
Correct.
Ellie, we knew he was, but we didn't see that corresponding move for 8 hours.
That's fair.
So, I mean, that's not a huge shock. I think this is something internal, whether it's an IL stint or a DFA. I don't know what it is, but there's no way it's a trade. There's no way they keep a trade because if it's a trade, it would be a significant trade. I don't think they keep that from all of the national reporters that would have been on that in seconds.
They would have had it finalized too.
I think it's more likely it's a trade than just a simple DFA of Kirk Casale. Like I think that's way more likely.
And I don't think it'll be Casale for the record. I think it will be a Phantom IL.
Yeah,
Casale was at the Hall of Fame induction on Sunday night.
I did too.
DFA-ing a guy the day after he's speaking at one of those.
Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows?
It's cutthroat. It's cutthroat in this business. What about a good call? But I mean, just luck of the Irish there by Chatterbox. Chatterbox Night getting CES's debut
months ago.
I mean, incredible move. We tend to have a lot of luck here. I mean, we start Chatterbox Reds and on a season when they're supposed to win 66 games and they're competing for a division series. Like a lot of luck sometimes. A lot of luck goes into this. All right, so the only other question I have for you guys about CES and looking forward about these Reds are, we get the news about that the Reds are going to be buying. What was your reaction to that on Friday from Charlie Goldsmith? And in what world, looking forward at these next 4 series, 3 against the good NL West teams and 1 against the Milwaukee Brewers, that gets you to the deadline, what does that look like in which you're like, all right, let's not pack it in, but essentially let's just bunker in with the roster that the Cincinnati Reds have? I'm feeling Jacob was already against any buying, quote unquote buying. I have a feeling that Paul and Elliott and Casey were pro the move. That it's exciting to hear the Reds are actively looking to do something at the deadline. So looking forward, say the Reds go mediocre, say the Reds kill it for the next 2 weeks, say the Reds have a terrible 2 weeks. At what point do you just kind of say, all right, let's just hunker in with the roster? Like, what does that look like?
The only thing I would say is if the Reds are in a place where they're dominating the division, I think that's when you can make some moves. But one starting pitcher does not do anything for this roster. It does nothing. It does absolutely nothing. The only thing that would happen is if they go all in. And at this point, it doesn't make sense for them to go all in. It just doesn't. Starting pitching has improved over the course of, a couple weeks here now. So I don't know what one starting pitcher does for the roster. Not a whole lot, probably.
To be fair, you're essentially getting three if you get one, because
Lodolo
and Green are coming back
right there at the deadline.
Correct, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think those two would be enough at that point, and then you already have Abbott. I think Ashcraft is turning a corner again. I was wrong about Ashcraft. I thought his season was over. He's pitched well. Williamson has shown signs of life here. Ben Lively has shown signs of life. I just don't think a starting pitcher moves the needle, and it would be, at this point, unwise to trade the farm for that.
Are we getting an Elliott sell?
This is incredible.
Red should sell and still can win the division take?
No.
Is that
close.
They shouldn't sell. They shouldn't sell. It's still a competitive team. I'm just saying there's no point of buying if you're not going to go all in, and I wouldn't go all in with this team.
Yeah, I mean, he just said what I've been saying for months, so felt good to hear that from the guy next to me.
Yeah, the only thing would be is if they move Jonathan India. That's the only trade that would acquire anything.
He's the only guy on the team that you have a replacement for right now that has real value. Nick Senzel doesn't have value. Kevin Newman doesn't have value. Kirk Casale doesn't have value. Everyone else is playing. The only guy playing that you can replace that has value is Jonathan India.
And it's been tough as a Jonathan India guy. It's been tough to watch. His at-bats, not competitive. I mean, they're just not competitive.
That's a bad take. I mean, it's not a bad take. I'm saying it's a cold on Jonathan India take from Elliott. Do you realize that Jonathan India won a Rookie of the Year? Do these things not matter to you?
Yeah, you want to get rid of a Rookie of the Year. What else do you want these prospects to do?
This is fair.
Why does this city hate rookies
This
of
is
the
fair.
year?
But I'm going to laugh so hard if Elliott wins Rookie of the Year. I'm going to laugh so hard when everybody wants to trade him next year. Everybody's going to want to trade him and call for his head. Jonathan India has
good
done.
deflection.
Jonathan India has done his job to a T. Guys
Wow.
like Jacob, guys like Evan, they wanted him out before the season started. He had 2 years.
Jonathan India has -5 outs above average every single
You have
year.
-5 outs above whatever. I don't care anymore.
Oh man,
He's a bad.
He's our WOBA con.
I mean,
John,
it's just like
the way that Elliott is dancing around this question, it makes me think that he's the one that dropped
I
the
just
bottle
don't
at
like.
Casey's wedding.
I don't
God.
like the Reds. I don't like Reds fans rooting against a guy because they can sell him for a guy who's going to be the same guy that Jonathan India is going to be.
Keeping Jonathan India is rooting against Noelvi Marte. That's what you're doing.
That's fine.
You're rooting against Noelvi. You're rooting against CES.
That's fine. But we'll move on. We'll see.
Casey,
Yeah.
we had huge news.
I know.
We had been on this bell for 4 months, 5 months.
Yeah, that's been a
that
while.
Joe Mixon needs to take a pay cut. And let's be honest, Casey, things were bleak. Things were very bleak. We talked about on this show months ago saying that Joe Mixon playing at his contract is the worst thing that could happen for the Cincinnati Bengals. And then we looked at June 1st, said, all right, is he going to get cut? What's going to happen? Deal's going to be. Nothing happened. And here we are on July 17th, and news finally broke that Joe Mixon made the only move that makes any logical sense for him to take a pay cut.
Yeah, I mean, it was such a relief, right? I mean, it didn't just mean that we would have future cap, like we got future cap space, but it also solidified a few things that we were thinking, and which was that he wants to win. He doesn't, like, he's a leader of this team, right? He wants to stay here long term. He's going to be here for another 2 years. He's probably going to start those 2 years. I mean, it solidified things that I thought about Joe Mixon that ended up being true, and that the dude was going to do what was right for this team from the very beginning. And I know it took a while to get there, and it took a lot of scares, a lot of just outside things that happened.
Sure.
But we're here now. I'm happy.
I also think
I'm
it
looking
was,
forward to
the best choice because I don't think he had another option, really. Nobody was going to pay him that money. With the off-field issues he's had, I think that was quite literally the only option he had.
But
It
seemed like everyone was sitting on their hands because, like, it was the June 1st was the date, right? Where we were going to cut it. So it figured that it was either going to be he was going to get a pay cut before June 1st or he was going to be gone. And then June 1st came and went, and you're like, okay, so it's just going to be Joe Mixon for
$10 million.
north of $10 million?
Yeah.
And luckily,
Joe Mixon for 6 is a steal.
How do you think that conversation went? Let's do the hypothetical. Do you think they sat him down and be like, "Hey, Joe,
we're not paying you $10 million."
Right, like you've got truly two options here. You could take the pay cut, or
I think that's exactly how it went. And I think his biggest point of contention, I think the Bengals probably went in there asking for a pay cut for this year, and then to get him to walk next year. I think his point of contention was he probably wanted to get both years cut down, which is great for him. And I'm not going to complain about having Joe Mixon for $6 million.
No.
I do see a lot of people in the chat saying that he's going to get suspended. I don't think that's an expectation by anyone. There's almost a 0% chance Joe Mixon gets suspended, I think.
Something new would have to come.
Yeah, nothing that has happened already would result in a suspension. So I just want to be clear on that. Having Joe Mixon, that also gives you the flexibility. We talked about how it would lead to the contract extensions, but it also gives you the flexibility to keep a guy like La'el Collins. Have him work through an injury with $8 million as a backup right tackle. That's not really on the table if you're paying a running back $10 million, especially with the lineup we are walking out there, right now. So keeping that depth after what's, bid us the last couple of years is huge. And I think that's something a lot of people aren't looking at.
That is, the depth of the offensive line, because it was a shell, right?
Correct.
I mean, the offense always had capable starters at the offensive line, but the second one of them goes down, world of trouble. So the fact that La'el Collins and even Jackson Cartman, who played a great game against the Buffalo Bills, now he's filling in on pieces. So there's depth here. This team just benefited so much from one single move, and that is the running back getting less money. Running backs are a dime a dozen in this league, and the more and more that you keep away from overpaying a running back, the better your team will be. It's just science at this point. It truly is.
It is. What was that, Casey? I'm sorry.
I was going to just ask, the real question is, do we see any more? Do we see any other guys deciding to take pay cuts or not maybe this offseason, but next season? I would love to see. Yeah, I would love to see this year. But, I mean, there's guys that, like Tyler Boyd, maybe he restructures his deal to at least stay another couple years, but cuts down on some of his money. Like that could be a possibility. There's lots of different avenues that they could go. La'el Collins is another great example of that too. I mean, he could still take a pay cut. He could still restructure his deal. Be interesting to see. I
mean, Jermaine Pratt took well below expected market value to stay in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Well below what he was expected to get across the board. So, I mean, we've been banging the table that Burrow's going to take this team-friendly deal since it started, and people outside of Cincinnati have called us crazy. It's happening time and time again. We've built something here with a culture with Zach Taylor and Duke Tobin and this front office and this team that people don't want to leave. We're a consistent competitor. We have a great vibe in the locker room. I don't think people want to get out of Cincinnati, and I think people really want to come to Cincinnati.
I think the reason that players want to play in Cincinnati is all the things that Paycor Stadium offers them. I mean, that place is just a modern marvel.
When people
paying
think
for
of
water and bananas.
Yeah, when people think of NFL stadiums and the peak of NFL facility, they think of Paycor Stadium.
They think of the Cincinnati Bengals and everything that the Bengals have proven to offer their players over the years.
I don't like this game, this little shtick everybody's playing right now. I don't like it one bit. But I think back to the point.
It's self-deprecating. We are Bengals fans.
I think
it's okay to be self-deprecating.
Are you going to stump for Paycor Stadium?
I have no comment.
Elliot, you've been there. That is the worst stadium you've ever been in.
It's not.
I don't know every
Buffalo's
stadium that you've ever
bad.
been in, but it's the worst stadium you've ever
Once
been
you
in.
get to your
pretty
seat, it's not bad.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's
like
fair.
the environment is great. Watching the game is great.
Sure.
Anything in the concourse. Yeah.
And then the in-game stuff's not
There
good.
literally is nothing in the concourse.
Right. It's concrete walls.
It's disgusting in the bathrooms. I mean, it's just truly a bad place. But back to the point, I don't think the team, like, Joe Mixon didn't take a team-friendly deal. I want to make that very clear. Joe Mixon had his back against the wall, and there was no other option. It's a win-win for him because now he gets to say he's a hero who took a pay cut. There was no other option. No team was signing Joe Mixon with all the off-field stuff. The Pratt thing's a better example of it. But I don't think everybody's going to hail Joe Mixon as this hero for taking a pay cut. He had no options.
Well, I think there's a legitimate world where he plants his flag in the sand and saying, I'm not taking a pay cut, and calls the Bengals bluff on walking out Travion Henderson and Chase Brown week 1.
And I think that's fair. But for him personally, there is not one single NFL team at his price tag that was signing that check. Not one.
The whole point.
There's not one.
The whole point of him the June 1st deadline was because now he was going to be owed that $9 million. Him taking the team-friendly deal that we're talking about was actually a team-friendly deal because he, like you said, could have took the bluff, and if they did cut him, he was still owed $8 million, $9 million. So him doing this is a team-friendly deal. Are we all on the same page there?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah,
it's a team-friendly deal that he had no other options to have.
I do disagree with that. I think there are other options.
Like he still was going to be owed
$10 million.
Yeah, he still could have been paid the $8 million, $9 million being cut. Like,
imagine having the off-field issues he had, and then still charging the Bengals the price tag, having the fan base just utterly hate him. I don't think he had another option.
See, I think fan bases are fickle. I think that all it would have taken for you say the fan base to utterly hate him, all it would have taken was Mixon to show up on week 1 and score a touchdown, and we immediately forget.
He has another Panthers game, everyone would be just fine.
Right.
Yeah.
Immediately forget. Fans are fickle. Always happen. Always will be. As you are with Jonathan India. He has a bad couple weeks, and you're saying you should trade him now.
No, I'm not saying we should. No, wait a minute.
Because you hate Rookie of the Year
Jonathan
awards.
India has been tough. The issue with Jonathan India now, and especially with Strand coming up, is that he has no place on the team. That's my concern. And if they kept him at 3, if David Bell kept him at the 3 spot, he certainly has no value on this roster because he can't hit. And if you can't hit and you can't defend, then we're out of luck. I would still give Jonathan India the end of the year, but then I don't know what his value becomes. I don't know anymore. So maybe I am on the trade India. Maybe I am. It's tough. I didn't want to be here.
Speaking of baseball.
I didn't want to be here.
Oh, do you think tonight we all need to wear name tags? Like the chat needs to wear name tags so we know who everybody is?
Yes.
Or they just go anonymously, and then we have to figure out who's who.
We just see it. I don't know if Everett's going, but he's just screaming in all caps. Everett's just, everything he says is just yelling.
Everett's mean to me. I want to see Everett tonight. I want to shake his hand.
I don't know if he's going. I think
wanna
he said
shake your
earlier
hand.
he's not going.
He said he's not going.
Boo-hoo. People being mean, Elliot. Come on.
Everybody love everybody.
I've been preaching that one.
Everybody love everybody.
I love ELE. I love ELE. All right, guys, so we're going to the ball game tonight. I've asked this question in a myriad of ways on this show and past, but when you go to the Reds game, what is your ball game modus operandi? What is your MO? You know, you make plans to go on a Friday night. Do you go to the banks to get food before the game? Do you show up? Casey, you're a big fan of the Garden Bar, right? The Garden Bar right there on the entrance before first pitch, the $5 beers. You said you eat 2 hot dogs during every game. That is your MO. I want to know, because I'm going to a ball game with you guys all tonight, what is your ball game MO? Jacob, you're typing away.
I'm in the chat.
Jacob, let's start with you.
Yeah, ball game MO, hot dogs. I'm always a hot dog guy.
Do you go somewhere pregame?
Oh, I'm a Banks.
Go to the Banks.
Just stand out. Don't go into any bar. Don't get
just
too
stand there and watch the TV.
Yeah, stay in the hall. Stay in the grass in the middle. Get some elbow room. Watch the TV.
I cannot watch that TV because I saw the Bengals get absolutely eviscerated by the Browns on that TV. So I will.
That's tough.
That's a bad memory. That's a bad memory right there.
Yeah, that is a tough one.
Elliot?
I usually get down. It's usually Zach.
Before?
Huh?
You before the game starts?
Yeah, usually I get down there at least 30 minutes before the first pitch. I like to walk around the ballpark, get some food. Usually we don't go.
You get food before the game starts?
Yeah, little appetizer.
Okay.
And then the game starts. Then we go back out, probably somewhere around the 3rd, 4th inning. And then we watch the rest of the game.
I do not eat until the 3rd.
Okay.
I sit down, watch the game. You watch the first 2 innings, watch all the good hitters hit, and then when you get to that back end of that lineup, you're like, all right, that's a chance. I'm gonna go get a Sky Rosa real quick.
Now that hinders your 9 for 9 for 9 stats if you're waiting until the 3rd inning for your first hot dog.
No.
I will only do the 9 for 9. I tried it when we saw Ellie De La Cruz. I think I got the beers, but I got only 7 hot dogs. My brother's calling me. I'm sure that's
I've
just
gotten
a
it twice
brilliant
this
phone
year.
call.
I've gotten it done twice this year. It's a hard task.
It's a hard task.
The buns really weigh you down.
Now, where's your go-to parking spot? Because I have a parking spot. I park in the garage right by the Heritage Bank or whatever bank it's called.
Yeah.
Paul's favorite stadium in the city.
We go up to the 5th floor of that, and you just walk right across. right into
Man, you go up there.
Yep.
I hate that spot because if it's a packed
It's
game,
crowded, yeah. Right.
yeah, it's going to take you an hour to get out of there.
Yes. It does suck for that part. But
The
for a long-
convenience of getting in.
Correct, yeah. The convenience of getting in, just walking in, it's a good time.
I'm a great American building guy. Give me my $20. Park
Oh,
right
wow.
Park right on the bottom
Premier.
floor. Pull
See, that-
out.
Yeah, that's the,
You guys-
that's the St. X motto there.
Do you guys know the Olympia lot? This old, dilapidated parking garage, $10 to get in.
That's big time.
That's where I go.
I like the one. I never heard of it. Where is it, by the way?
It's in between the two stadiums. I don't know the streets that well
Okay.
in Cincinnati. It's in between the two stadiums, like pretty much right in the middle.
I think I know that one.
It's like 2 blocks away from the Underground Railroad Museum.
Yeah. Okay.
It's Olympia Garage.
I also park on the like right by the river, right on the river. What's that called? You know what I'm talking about?
Sawyer Point?
No. It's right across. It's right across from.
Oh,
the
right across from the arena, on the back side of the arena,
Yeah.
back there, and it's on that slope.
Yep.
It's not always open because of the floodwaters
Correct.
sometimes. Yeah.
That's where I park too. That's good. That's good parking. There.
So I think I've parked in the same spot or the same lot for every game I've been to, and except for one in the last like 2 or 3 years. It's right. So what I'll do is I'll come down 71 and get off at the Gilbert exit and go past the back side of the casino, not the Reading Road side, the front side of the casino. I'll go down the back side of the casino, take a left, go down there to the road that'll dead end into Sawyer Point, and then I take a right there at that road, and there's 4 or 5 lots right there. And those lots, I mean, they do dynamic pricing. So some games it's $5, but I've never paid more than $20. And you just pull right up there, which I will say,
$1 and jar.
Shout out to the city of Cincinnati, because for 2 weeks we had to hear about, Taylor Swift and how crazy the city was going to be. So I picked up a friend of mine or actually one of Lizzie's friends. We parked at Rookwood. I drove. We all took bets. We left Rookwood at 4:35. We took bets. What time are we going to be parked and getting out to walk up? Because it had taken 45 minutes for us to park for the Reds game the week before, which ended up being that 12-11 crazy Braves game. So we took bets. It was 4:35. We all said 5:30 to be parked. We were parked by 4:46. It took us 10 minutes. There was nobody. The parking lot was open. Paycor handled the crowd. The Taylor Swift crowd was infinite. What everybody described the Taylor Swift crowd was a Bengals primetime game. Like that's what the Taylor Swift crowd was a Bengals primetime game. The Taylor Swift crowd, it was the easiest crowd. It was easier than a Reds game. Easy in, easy out. It was great. Parked in the same spot. It was a little longer of a walk, but that's where I parked for Bengals games, Reds games, everything. Just that lot right across. It's usually like $10 or $15. And I don't ever really go anywhere before, because I usually show up right around first pitch. Like I'll show up probably, I can't remember the last time I've heard the national anthem. Usually I'm like right in between when the anthem plays and when the game starts. Yeah. Sometimes I'll get the $5 beer. Sometimes if I'm there early enough, I'll get that. But I don't ever eat at the stadium either. I can't remember the last time I've eaten at a.
Really?
I mean, yeah. Sometimes I'll get a.
Is that a frugal thing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'd rather just get a double cheeseburger from McDonald's on the way down for $2 instead of spending $10 on a La Rosa's or something.
Yeah, I feel like my experience, Casey, we'll get to you in a second, but I feel like my experience with Reds games is a bit different than you guys, because the stadium's 40 minutes away from where I live, as opposed to 20 minutes, I assume, for each and every one of you. So it's a little bit more of an event when you go down. So that's why, I go early, go to the banks, stop at the stretch, stop at wherever, get a beer, go in, get the $5 beer, and eat at the stadium. I don't go to 20 games a year. So I put a little more event behind it. So I do sometimes show up like in the bottom of the first inning because I'm late. Because once again, when they were playing at 6:45, the game's not tonight at 6:45.
7:10.
No,
Okay, so they got back to the 7:10 time slot.
6:45 is the dumbest thing they've ever done.
God, it was because the games were too long. It was because the games were too long. Casey, what's your modus operandi? What's your MO?
So, parking situation wise, I get in parking for free because I know my best man Thomas, who works at Western Southern, that parking garage that's on Broadway Street. Get in there for free. So
That's huge.
that saves me some money right there, which is why I like going at least an hour early to get to the $5 beers, because that's, $10.
That's Moneyball. That's Moneyball.
Yeah, that's great right there. And then for tonight, I'll probably have a few hot dogs, some pulled pork. I'll enjoy myself, eat some food.
You eat ballpark food, or do you try like the fry box and?
I try not to eat the ballpark food unless it's 3-2-1 night. Then I will get some.
Have you guys ever brought food into the game?
No.
Like just pocket it and walked in? No.
You can bring food in.
Bring it in. You're
yeah,
allowed to.
Yeah, you're allowed to bring in. You can bring a
Cooler,
a little cooler of food.
I have a buddy who
waters?
does it. He microwaves hot dogs and brings like 10 of them. It's the most disgusting, foul thing you'll ever see.
If you're bringing your own hot dogs to the ballpark, I don't trust you as an individual.
No, and they're cold by the time they get. It's legitimately foul. It makes me sick.
Like if you wanted to, you could get like a $20 La Rosa's pizza, pick it up, and just bring it into the ballpark.
Really?
Good.
Yep. You can do whatever. I mean, you can bring any kind of food, Casey. You just can't bring in alcohol. It's the only thing you can't bring in.
But you can't do that at a Bengals game, right?
That is correct.
They don't let
So
you bring
what's
food
the
at the Bengals?
difference?
You can't bring any bags that aren't clear to NFL games. NFL versus MLB, different rules for stadiums.
Interesting.
For what it's worth, like an MLB game, you're going to see more. You're more likely to see like a family. That's their weekend
Like,
activity.
The NFL isn't playing at noon on a Wednesday.
Right.
Like,
That's
It's not-
fair.
It's not the family summer thing. Get jerseys. Go get the certificate. It's your first game. Go let the kid play at the home run derby field.
Can we do this tonight? Can I recommend something?
Elliot, I'll do anything you want to do.
Everybody that attends Chatterbox Night in the boat, everybody that's up there, everyone buy $20 worth of Split the Pot tickets. I'm going to have our section win Split the Pot.
That's the only thing that is. I mean, if you know me or you listen to the show, a Split the Pot is that's
a tradition.
I love that because I've never heard of someone doing that before you.
What?
Oh yeah.
I do it just for Paul.
I love Split the Pot.
I
never
could,
even crossed my mind. or
I
entered
could
my
probably count on one hand the number of times that I've gone to a game since I've been over 18 and haven't bought a Split the Pot
Now,
ticket.
them changing Split the Pot from game to game to series is the biggest sham in the history of professional
That'll
sports.
go back now that
That'll go back.
Well, yeah, and that's why they did Bark in the Park, and that's why they do all the other gimmicks.
I know why.
So Bobby Boy can fill up the stadium a little bit more.
And I'm only buying Split the Pot tickets if I'm there the last game of the series now, which is a shame because you only need to win one to be even for your life.
So you guys
treat it tonight.
You guys treat Split the Pot like my dad treats Keno whenever we go to a bar and grill. I mean, I've never been to any bar and grill that has Keno. My dad has not walked on over to that machine, put $20 in, and just like casually looked up at the screen while it's going on.
Has he ever won?
Oh yeah.
Big time one?
Oh yeah, where you like the bar won't pay you out? Sure.
So the most
it's like
I've
$450 or something like that.
Oh, that's pretty good.
He's won thousands. I was there when he won like $1,500 one time.
The most I've ever won was 100, and it's only I put in a 20. It's the only reason you get paid 100 is when none of your numbers hit. So none of my numbers hit. So I got $100
out of 10.
Yeah,
That's hard to do.
it's impressive. It's a 5-to-1 payout just to be the worst Keno player of all time.
But even if we got everybody tonight in the deck to buy a 50-50 ticket, we wouldn't find out for another couple days.
Right.
Yeah, but that's okay. I think it's worth it. Prize would be like 100,000. Bankrupt Bobby C. That'll feel good.
You gonna use your Split the Pot money to buy the team from him, Elliot?
Yes. Now we're talking, Jacob. Now we're cooking with gas. Reed?
Who are you guys most excited to? Who's all coming in the chat? I know a lot of people have said. Give me one chat member you're excited to shake hands with.
Evan. I need to.
Yep. Evan and I have been fighting tooth and nail for Jonathan India to get off this team. I can't wait to give him a firm handshake.
I need to see how much of Evan is real. I think there's a lot of shtick in Evan, and I don't know.
I think Evan cares too much to be a shtick.
I don't think
I've read his
Evan
tweets. I think he's the other way. I think he cares too much for it to be a shtick.
Okay. Well, I've already met Sir Boy, so I can cross that name off. I'm excited to talk with Sir Boy again. I think Mo Egger's coming. That'll be fun. I get
to Chatterbox Night?
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That's what Trey said.
Yesterday.
Nice.
So Mo, I'll get to reunite with Mo. Let's see who else. I don't think Mark is going. I haven't heard anything from Mark. Nick, I get to meet Nick Kirby in person. I get to ask him.
Not much to meet there.
Huh?
Yeah.
You don't like Nick Kirby?
Take him or leave him. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Reed hates Nick Kirby. Put that on the record. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. Evan Maurer says BLP.
Big League Paul.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people are too.
The player formerly known as Mouse Cop has called into my Twitter Spaces for close to a year, but I've never actually met him in person, and he's a Xavier guy.
Who?
So, would you like me to address him as Mr. Hamiltucky?
That's his name.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Well, he'll be there.
I'm very excited to meet him. I wonder if he'll introduce himself as Mouse Cop.
I think that needs to be set. You got to introduce yourself at least the first time as your chat name. So
That's what I meant about the I was obviously joking about the name tags, but we need to figure out a way that because I don't know any of these people.
These are not their names.
The only person in the chat that I have I've met CJ. I met CJ, but he's not in there today.
Is PB coming? PB, I know you can hear me. Are you coming?
Love to meet PB's ghost.
All right.
Yeah. Same. What about OJ?
There's a 0%. We have not heard from him in 3 weeks. 4 weeks.
I snapped OJ one too many times. That's on me. Hand up, that's on me.
You lost us a viewer, a loyal viewer,
but
too.
I brought in so many others.
Mark
are you implying that one sacrifice is...
Yeah.
Casey, what are you going on about sacrificing? You pushed a cow down the steps. Watch him die.
Pushed a cow down the steps? I just pushed a cow down the steps.
Casey, your wife said in the chat you killed a family of raccoons, children, babies, and all.
What are you guys betting tonight? Let's get in the vault. Case.
Get in the vault.
Let's get in the vault.
Run that track.
I do want Leif Erickson back. Mr. Hamiltucky's right. Casey did make Leif leave. Maybe he'll come back during football season.
Yeah.
When the Vikings are playing. I'm taking the Nerfy. The Nerfy tonight. I can't justify betting on the Cincinnati Redlegs. Don't care for the Giants. Couldn't imagine losing to the Giants in the postseason. Couldn't imagine it. Guys, what are you betting tonight?
I am not going to take the Reds money line. I'm going to take the 1.5. Reds run line, and props aren't out yet on Betfred, but CES is hitting a home run.
Okay. I'm going to take Giants money line, and I'll tell you why.
So you can be a happy boy either way you leave.
Yeah, I'm going to curse the Giants and put my gambling stink all over them.
I respect the move. Hedge the heart.
Hedge the heart.
Hedge the heart.
Hedge the heart.
Casey, Paul?
I'm going to take the Reds money line, and I think I'm actually going to take it.
Wow.
As opposed to the run line. I think I'm gonna take the money line here. I'm looking at the odds. Now, last week I was big on Reds and the under. The under was the play all weekend, but the Reds were not. I don't know if I'm gonna use the total there. We'll see.
I think the under does hit for the record. Under 10 is a lock.
It's a lock.
That's a lot of runs.
Spoiler for Zebra
Lock me in
Zillionaires
for the
later
over.
will be played.
Casey, you got anything for us?
Man,
You getting in the vault? What's Betfred Sportsbook gonna? How are they gonna lose money tonight?
I'm looking at the over unders here. I'm just gonna take the under.
I gotta figure out if Betfred's coming tonight.
Fred will be there?
Yeah.
Not Fred.
Oh, Mr. Bet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Sports.
Fred is English.
Just sports.
Yeah, Mr. Sports.
Mr. Fred is English.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Across the pond.
Across the pond.
All right, let's eat. What's for lunch today? What?
I mean, it's nothing.
What?
Nothing.
What? You can't start and stop.
No, this is an honest segment. I'm sure we'll go wherever it lands on. This is an honest segment.
I am. Let me stake my flag in the fact that I am pro going wherever the wheel ends.
I want
every time.
I want receipts today.
I'm
I
gonna
want a
say-
picture from the Chatterbox account from wherever we go.
Okay.
Are you willing to do that over there?
I am willing to go wherever it lands.
All right, so let's.
I am not the fraud here.
Let's
I am
be
not the
conscious
fraud
about
here.
what we're putting
Yeah,
on the
but
wheel
let's
then,
not
guys.
throw
Casey,
some weird
let's
things
not
on
put,
there,
like,
Casey.
Sonic.
No.
No.
For
No. No.
If you guys are unwilling,
No, we've already
Damn,
done
we're
the
gonna meet Mr.
We've
Hamiltucky?
already done the Sonic shtick.
It's not a
We've
shtick.
already done
It's
it.
not a
Hold on.
shtick.
It's
Listen
from
up.
you. You were the one that
listen
complained about
up.
it the
Yeah,
most.
you can't do this and then complain out more
Listen,
than anyone like you are.
everyone listen up. You
Okay,
get one
Casey, go.
choice. You
Why are
get
we
one
shouting?
choice on this
Why are
wheel.
we shouting?
Well, no,
You
I
get
think we need
one
2.
choice.
Wait, 5 people?
Yeah, 2.
2.
We each get 2.
Well, you each get 2. Elliot, what are your 2 choices?
Oh, no.
We will kill
No,
you.
Sonic and Long John Silver's.
Oh my God.
I love Long John
Oh
Silver's.
my
Long
God.
John
Hamilton Long
Silver's.
John Silver's would kill us, right?
Yeah, I would.
Third floor would take a beating.
We have here in
Paul,
Hamilton.
what
We have a
is your
KFC
choices?
Long John
All right.
Silver's
Go,
hybrid. We got a yum.
Let's eat both.
Chipotle
I get the chicken from Long John Silver's.
Yes.
and Firehouse.
Jacob.
I'll go Hothead and Jersey Mike's.
Ooh, Hothead.
I love Hothead.
Jersey Mike's a good one.
Wingstop Paul, right?
Paul's going Wingstop and Panda.
Yep.
You went Arby's
Nice.
It's a good choice.
and Jolly's.
So we all are looking out for each other, putting great
Yeah,
options
that
on
was
the
a
board.
team effort except for
And
one.
then Elliot over here.
Yeah, that was a team effort except for one. What do you got, Casey?
I don't know. We landed on
Wendy's.
Arby's last week and we didn't go.
That's what I'm saying, Reed.
Elliot's the one that didn't want to go.
I'm putting one up there that Paul's not
I don't
gonna like,
care.
but-
I'm just saying. I want to go
I
wherever
can.
it
I
leads.
mean, I can.
Can I remove one of my options?
Yeah.
Take out Jolly's.
Okay.
Sorry, Jolly, I love you. Put in Jocko's.
Because we've never been there before.
You got to get their chicken livers or gizzards.
Oh, that's
man.
a great option.
Oh man.
No thanks.
Oh man.
That's better than your 2 options.
That's
Well,
absolutely-
No, no chicken livers or gizzards. Oh man.
Here we go. Next up, eliminated.
Smell you later,
See you,
Panda.
See ya, Panda.
I'm okay with that.
Long Johns and Sonic
Who put
still on
Panda
there. It's
back on?
tough.
Wait, who put Panda back on?
I put Panda
Casey.
on there. I like
All right, don't complain about other people's suggestions when you're putting on Long
All right,
John
all right,
Silver's.
all right. We got one gone. We got one
In
gone.
all seriousness, we're clapping about Long John Silver's. Have you guys been to Long John Silver's? Is that a place you guys have eaten before?
No.
No, and I don't plan on.
Yes! Stop!
Why are you celebrating so early?
Oh,
So how are we gonna laugh at Long John Silver's if you haven't had it?
Because there's no way it
Seen
has
them,
enough.
I've seen them.
It doesn't.
What do you mean you've seen the
I've seen
building?
the building.
You've
Come
seen
on,
the building,
get
Going!
No!
Oh no.
and it's still a place of business. That's actually a rule. Like if I see like a dilapidated building that sells food, and it's in a business
There
for
we
a long
go.
time.
All right.
No!
All right.
Boo!
All right.
We're
probably
safe.
slapped.
We're good.
All right. All right.
We're in a good spot.
Boo!
See ya.
We're in a really
I'm
good
fine
spot.
with all 3 of these.
I don't
Yeah, I
want
have
to eat
to.
inside. And
I've never had
outside.
Hothead.
Perfect.
It's just
Can
so
we
bad.
eat outside at
It's eliminated.
Hothead? Can we eat outside at
they have a nice
Hothead?
patio.
Do they have a patio?
Nice patio.
Okay, good.
Why?
They-
What is wrong with you guys?
Here we go.
My wife worked at Hothead for one
Give
day.
me Firehouse. Give me Firehouse.
Firehouse.
Paul loves eating outside of Firehouse.
Yep. Firehouse. That's a good win.
That was a well-earned win.
That was a good win.
Do people even? I mean, we can tweet it.
No one wants to know if we went to Firehouse.
Nobody wants to know if we went to Firehouse. I mean, that's where we can go.
The
but-
tweet confirmation was strictly for Sonic or Long John Silver's.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Yeah, no, it was.
Okay.
Jocko's would have been up there.
Jocko's
would have needed a confirmation as well.
Jocko's for sure. Guys, thank you for tuning in for the most useless hour of your day. We'll see you tonight. We'll
Yeah,
see
see
you
you
on
tonight.
Wednesday. It is Box Lunch presented by Betfred Sportsbook. See you guys.